Chapter 297. The 7 venerables were tightly entangled by the 3 soul slaves. Longao took advantage of this opportunity to ruthlessly and viciously attack. The battle had already entered its most intense state. Neither side dared to be the slightest bit careless. This was because everyone knew that if they were the slightest bit careless, they would fall into an irrecoverable state. The final strike. The 3 soul slaves had already forced the 7 venerables back. Longao knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He could not miss it. It was because of this that Longao chose to use his full strength. This was the so-called final strike. The Annihilation Seal, the first 4 seals, the Soul-Suppressing Seal, the Underworld Burning Seal, the Heaven-Burying Seal, and the Doomsday Seal appeared at the same time. Not only that, but Longao also used the Soul Attack. This time, Longao didn't choose to divide his soul into 7. This was because he knew that once his soul was divided into 7, it wouldn't be able to cause any harm to the 7 venerables. Thus, Longao chose to attack them one by one. He used his soul attack to attack Chao Chong. Longao had already said that Chao Chong would be next. A martial artist couldn't go back on their word, much less now. Chao Chong was using all of his strength to resist the 3 soul slaves. Moreover, he had to pay attention to Longao's attacks. Caught off guard, his soul was successfully corroded. With a pitiful cry, Chao Chong's body began to sway, as if he could collapse at any moment. This time, Longao didn't choose to use his fist. Instead, he prepared to use blood-sucking wild saber. The remaining 6 venerables knew that Chao Chong's life was at stake, but they were powerless to do anything. At this time, the 6 venerables were completely entangled by the 3 soul slaves. They couldn't break free, much less save Chao Chong. It was laughable to say that 3 venerable soul slaves weren't a match for the 6 venerables. But these 3 soul slaves had undying bodies. In any case, they weren't afraid of being beaten. They would just stick around and anger them to death. Blood-sucking wild saber. Longao focused all of his strength on blood-sucking wild saber. The 8 styles of blood-sucking instantly overlapped. Not just that, but in order to end this battle as quickly as possible, Longao used the 8 styles of blood-sucking wild saber light. He fused the world's aura into his saber light, and even used the God-punishing mirror to change the flow of time. Time reversed by 3 seconds. Chao Chong, who was attacked by the soul, went crazy. He didn't dare to hesitate at all. He used all his strength to resist the power that was corroding his soul. But at this moment, Longao moved. With the force of his right foot, his whole body left the ground. Holding the blood-sucking broadsword in both hands, he stared coldly at the opposite side and slashed out. The seemingly weak slash actually contained boundless power. It was the most powerful slash Longao could make at the moment. His strongest attack was a shocking saber light. Everyone was stunned when they saw Longao's saber light. This saber attack had already reached the peak of the honorable realm. It was even close to the strength of a supreme being. If a supreme being wasn't careful, they would probably be killed by this attack. Longao, don't you dare! Seeing that Longao was about to kill Chao Chong, Guanfeng panicked. Chao Chong was the leader of the 10 venerables of the Blood Sea sect. The Blood Sea sect had already lost 3 venerables. If Chao Chong died, the Blood Sea sect would suffer a great loss. The terrifying aura of a supreme being was released, fiercely suppressing the martial arts field. Just as Guanfeng was about to rush forward, Ao Tian suddenly made his move and blocked Guanfeng. Ao Tian, what's the meaning of this? Seeing Ao Tian blocking him, Guanfeng's face was extremely gloomy. However, Guanfeng was afraid of Ao Tian's strength. Before this, Ao Tian had been pretending. His strength had already broken through the peak of the Supreme Being realm. He was only a step away from reaching the earthly Supreme Being realm. The 8 void realms. The gap between each realm was huge. Guanfeng, do you still have any shame? The 10 venerables of the Blood Sea sect against Longao alone is already shameless enough. Now you still want to make a move? I didn't want to look down on you, but your actions are simply disgusting. Aotian's words immediately caused a commotion. Most of them were looking down on and ridiculing the Blood Sea sect. Guanfeng clenched his fists tightly. He was originally full of confidence, but he never thought that things would develop to this point. In just a few minutes, Longao had already killed 3 venerables. Now, he was going to kill Chao Chong. Guanfeng wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew that the Blood Sea sect couldn't afford to lose venerables. Every time they lost a venerable, the Blood Sea sect's chances of dominating the Tianzhou region would be reduced. They couldn't afford to lose any more venerables. Aotian, get lost, or I'll have to kill you. Ha ha ha, with just you. Aotian was full of confidence. Peak Supreme Being was invincible. Unless he encountered an earthly Supreme Being, who else could defeat him? With just Guanfeng? Aotian, don't forget that this is still the Blood Sea sect. If the 3 of us join forces, do you think you can leave the Blood Sea sect? The Blood Sea sect had 3 Supreme Beings. If the 3 Supreme Beings joined forces, Aotian knew that he wouldn't be their opponent. However, Aotian wasn't afraid at all. He sneered. Guanfeng, don't use 2 Supreme Beings to pressure me. The 3 of you can't kill me in a short time. If the 2 Supreme Beings from the Ghost King sect come, who knows who will win? Hearing this, Guanfeng hesitated. It must be known that among the 6 major sects, the Blood Sea sect and the Ghost King sect were the strongest. However, the other 4 major sects were not weak either. They all had martial saints in charge. Once the Blood Sea sect and the Ghost King sect suffered losses, wouldn't the other 4 major sects benefit for nothing? Aotian, you will pay the price for today. Anytime. Seeing the Ghost King suddenly intercepting Guanfeng, Dugubai and Xia Jun were delighted. It was the right decision to spread the news. Longao's talent and strength had moved Aotian. They believed that Longao's life was more than enough to save his own life. Dugubai and Xia Jun let out a long sigh of relief. In the end, Guanfeng was still afraid and could only retreat. However, his face was full of ruthlessness. No one cared about the matter between Guanfeng and Aotian, because everyone was looking at Longao and Chao Chong. After all, Longao's blade was enough to shock the heaven and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. The shocking blade light was like a blade of tribulation lightning, fiercely chopping towards Chao Chong. Chao Chong was shocked when he felt the blade light. Just as he was about to dodge, he was shocked to find that his body was locked by the blade light. He couldn't move even if he wanted to. I can't accept this. Chao Chong's voice rolled out, but the shocking saber light had already slashed down, directly splitting Chao Chong in half. Perhaps the saber light was too powerful. Not only his body, but even his soul was devoured by the saber light. Both his body and soul were destroyed. This saber light shocked everyone. It was unparalleled. P.S. I accidentally fell asleep. Depressed. 6th update has arrived. Eat a bite and continue writing. The remaining 4 chapters will come one after another. Everyone, please support Little 9! Chapter 298. A shocking slash had killed Chao Chong's honorable. Chao Chong was the strongest of the 10 honorables of the Blood Sea sect. But even so, he was still killed by Longao with a single slash. This showed how strong Longao was. In a battle of life and death, in just a few minutes, Longao had killed 4 honorables. This was a huge loss for the Blood Sea sect. Guanfeng's face was so gloomy that he was afraid. Because of his anger, his body began to tremble. The Blood Sea sect could no longer bear the loss of 4 honorables. Did he really have to choose to admit defeat? Guanfeng knew very well that once he admitted defeat, not only would it be a matter of losing face, everyone in the Tianzhou would look down on the Blood Sea sect. If he wanted to continue fighting for supremacy in the Tianzhou, it would be an extremely difficult matter. Although the winner was the king and the loser was the bandit, the Blood Sea sect had already lost 4 honorables. They had more or less fallen behind the Ghost King sect. After successfully killing Chao Chong, Longao did not stop there. His entire body directly headed towards the 6 venerables. Out of the 10 venerables, he had already killed 4 venerables. The remaining 6 venerables had to be eliminated. If it was before, the 6 great venerables would not even put Longao in their eyes. But now, when the 6 great venerables saw Longao rushing over, they all retreated in fear. Longao had already killed 4 honorables, including Chao Chong. Could the 6 of them be a match for him? This situation was very laughable. 6 honorables working together were actually afraid of Longao. Looking at the strange scene in the martial arts field, everyone sighed. Everyone knew that Longao had already won this battle. Thinking about it, they felt that it was unreal. Longao actually fought against 10 honorables alone, killed 4 honorables, and chased after 6 honorables. The 6 honorables were tightly entangled by the 3 soul slaves. They could not escape at all. At this moment, the 6 honorables' state of mind had changed. They were not willing to fight Longao at all. They were even afraid. Frightened, the 6 venerables were flustered. Longao, we admit defeat. Seeing the 6 venerables being forced to retreat step by step, even if Guan Feng had to admit it 10,000 times in his heart, Guan Feng still knew very clearly that the Blood Sea sect had lost. Guan Feng sighed deeply in his heart. He knew that the Blood Sea sect had suffered a double loss in this battle. Up until now, Guan Feng still couldn't figure out why 4 of the 10 venerables were killed and 6 of them were pursued by a mere Longao. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Not to mention Guan Feng, even the rest of the crowd did not expect Longao to win the battle. 1 against 10, Longao killed 4 venerables. This achievement was enough to show disdain for his peers. Brother Dugu, Brother Long actually won. This is truly unbelievable. Xia Jun sighed. Before this, Xia Jun had always thought that Longao would be defeated and even lose his life. But now, not only did Longao not lose, but he also killed 4 venerables and pursued 6 venerables. Just thinking about it made him feel terrified. Nodding his head, Dugubai also had an astonished expression on his face as he said, Brother Long always surprises me. I am already used to it. However, this time, I never expected that Brother Long would be able to kill 4 venerables and successfully win. From now on, Brother Long can definitely become the number 1 venerables, the number 1 under the Supremes. Number 1 venerables. Number 1 under the Supremes. Xia Jun nodded his head in agreement with Dugubai's evaluation. Longao was able to defeat 10 venerables and kill 4 venerables by himself. This was already enough to show disdain for all venerables. Hearing Guan Feng admit defeat, Ao Tian was overjoyed. In Ao Tian's opinion, including everyone else, Longao had already taken his revenge by establishing the Blood Sea sect and killing 4 venerables. After all, 4 venerables couldn't be compared to a mere Long family. 4 venerables wasn't something a mere Long family could contend against. Things had already reached this stage. Longao's revenge had been taken. If it wasn't for the Ghost King's sect and the Ghost King's sudden intervention, the Blood Sea sect wouldn't have let Longao go. What kind of joke was this? 4 venerables were killed. If the Blood Sea sect could endure this, they wouldn't be the Blood Sea sect. However, with the Ghost King's sect's intervention, Guan Feng knew that it was almost impossible to kill Longao. But it didn't matter. Once Longao left the Blood Sea sect, he would have countless chances to kill Longao. Admit defeat. Saying these 2 words with difficulty. The Blood Sea sect's face had hit rock bottom in this battle. After this, the whole world would know where the Blood Sea sect would stand. Where would the Blood Sea sect's face go? The Blood Sea sect lost? 10 venerables of the Blood Sea sect actually lost against Longao alone? Xia Fang foolishly looked at the black-clothed, white-haired youth on the training field. The fury in his heart erupted like a volcano. But because of the other sects, he suppressed his impulse. However, Xia Fang was unwilling to accept this. This was the murderer of his son. No matter what happened, Longao had to die. Longao, just you wait. I'll let you know the feeling of living a life worse than death. Humph. Xia Fang sneered coldly in his heart. He was preparing to turn around and leave. But at this time, Guanfeng suddenly roared in rage. Longao, I have already chosen to admit defeat, what else do you want? Not only Guanfeng, even the others were shocked. Because at this moment, Longao didn't care about Guanfeng at all. He once again shot towards the 6 venerables. His body was surging with killing intent. The wild devouring blade in his hand also slashed out. The 6 venerables tried to dodge, but they were tightly entangled by the 3 soul slaves. At this moment, the 6 venerables were completely flustered. They didn't dare to face Longao head-on. They only had one goal, and that was to leave this place. Seeing Longao's arrogance, everyone was dumbfounded, including Dugubai, Xia Jun, Xia Fang, and Ao Tian. Could it be that Longao had lost his mind due to hatred? But it had to be known that Guanfeng had already admitted defeat, which meant that the Blood Sea sect had admitted defeat. Longao had already killed 4 venerables of the Blood Sea sect. But if he wanted to leave safely, why would he continue to chase after the 6 venerables? Could it be that he was so arrogant that he could fight against the entire Blood Sea sect by himself? No matter what, other than the 10 venerables in the Blood Sea sect, there were still 3 even more powerful venerables. Even if Longao could win against 10 venerables and successfully kill 4 venerables, could it be that he could defeat 3 venerables? Longao, you're courting death. Guanfeng was still blocked by Ao Tian. He said coldly. This battle isn't over yet. Guanfeng, don't even think about destroying it. Ha ha, Guanfeng, you destroyed my Long family. Today, I'll definitely destroy your Blood Sea sect. I'll definitely kill these 6 venerables. Chapter 299. He had to be killed. Since things had already reached this stage, Longao naturally wouldn't give up. Guanfeng was tightly entangled by Ao Tian. Even if he wanted to help, he couldn't. At this moment, Longao rushed forward with his bloodsucker saber. Ao Tian, you're courting death. Humph, I think you're the one courting death. Ao Tian and Guanfeng suddenly started fighting, causing everyone to be confused. They didn't know why the grudge between Longao and Blood River sect would spread to Blood River sect and Ghost King sect. However, the other 4 sects didn't interfere. They stood far away and watched. Although they were allies, the other 4 sects couldn't wait for Ghost King's sect and Blood River sect to both be injured and reap the benefits. Guanfeng and Ao Tian were both genuine supremes. The battle between the two could be said to be even more intense. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. Big Brother Dugu, it seems like Ghost King Ao Tian wants to protect Brother Long. Seeing Ao Tian suddenly make a move, Xia Jun was delighted. No matter what, Ghost King's sect's strength was there. Among the 5 sects, only Ghost King's sect could contend against Blood River sect. Nodding, Dugubai let out a sigh of relief and said, This is what I want. As long as Ghost King makes a move, Brother Long's life will be saved. But this time, Brother Long was too reckless and didn't stop. This matter is too troublesome. Until now, Dugubai still couldn't understand why Longao was so determined to continue killing. Even if Longao wanted to take revenge, he had already killed 4 of Blood River sect's sovereigns. His revenge could be considered avenged. He should take this opportunity to leave. But what about Longao? Not only did he not do that, he continued to chase after the remaining 6 sovereigns. Not to mention Guanfeng and Blood River sect, any other sect wouldn't let Longao go. Longao held his bloodsucker saber and chased after the 6 sovereigns. Helpless, the 6 sovereigns could only stop fighting Longao. Although their state of mind had changed, the combined strength of the 6 sovereigns was still no small matter. Just like that, the 2 sides started fighting again. The battle could be said to be full of twists and turns. No one had expected Longao to continue chasing after the remaining 6 martial highnesses. Even more unexpected was that Ghost King Ao Tian would suddenly attack and engage in a battle with Guanfeng. Longao knew very well that it would not be easy to kill the 6 venerables in a short period of time. However, Longao was even more aware that this battle had to be ended quickly, and couldn't be delayed. Otherwise, once the other two Supreme Beings were alerted at this time, they would be in big trouble. Longao went all out, fighting 1 against 6. This battle was world-shaking. The God-sealing bead and God-punishing mirror activated at the same time. A strange strength spread out in all directions, directly covering the 6 venerables. Under normal circumstances, the 6 venerables would only need a second to break the seal if they joined forces. But now, the situation was completely different. After successfully locking onto the 6 venerables and changing the flow of time by 3 seconds, Longao grasped this rare opportunity and ferociously hacked down with the blood-sucking saber. Crack! Without a doubt, Longao borrowed the power of the God-sealing bead and God-punishing mirror. The shocking saber light slashed down and directly killed one of the venerables. Even the venerable's soul was devoured by the saber light. The same shocking saber slash, the same saber slash. Another venerables had died. Looking at the venerables that were killed, everyone was completely stunned. It seemed that Longao was determined to kill the remaining 5 venerables. Everyone was looking forward to it. After all, Longao had killed 10 venerables. The strength of the Blood Sea sect had greatly decreased. But the Blood Sea sect only had 3 Supreme Beings and 10 venerables. Now that the Blood Sea sect had lost 10 venerables, only 3 Supreme Beings were left. How could the Blood Sea sect compete for Tianzhou? Everyone, including Guanfeng, knew this very well. Especially Guanfeng. Seeing Longao kill another venerables, he was completely flustered. Guanfeng knew that if he continued to be entangled with the Ghost King Longao, there would only be one result. The remaining 5 venerables would all be killed by Longao. If that really happened, then all his efforts over the years would have been wasted. How could Guanfeng not know why Ao Tian was entangled with him? The Ghost King sect and the Blood Sea sect were fighting for the position of Tianzhou's overlord. The Ghost King sect and the Blood Sea sect's strength were very similar. They both had 10 venerables. Now that the Blood Sea sect's 10 venerables were all killed, who would benefit the most? Without a doubt, the Ghost King sect would benefit the most from the Blood Sea sect's 10 venerables being killed. Thinking about this, Guanfeng hated the Ghost King sect and Longao to the core. His attacks became even more vicious. But the difference in strength between Guanfeng and Ao Tian was too big. It was almost impossible for Guanfeng to kill Ao Tian. Kacha, Longao's fists fiercely smashed the venerables. Punch after punch, in just a few seconds the venerables were smashed into pieces and died. Another venerables died. A total of 10 venerables had been killed. Guanfeng was about to go crazy. He never thought that things would end like this. 6 venerables. To the Blood Sea sect, this was a huge blow. The Blood Sea sect had prepared for so many years and finally had the strength to compete for Tianzhou. But because of one person, a small venerables, all their efforts were in vain. They even had to withdraw from the competition for Tianzhou. How could Guanfeng accept this? After successfully killing the venerables, Longao didn't stop there. He continued to attack fiercely. Blade after blade, fist after fist, he didn't give the 4 venerables any chance to breathe. Longao's eyes were bloodshot. The killing intent in his heart was constantly corroding his heart and soul. The hatred of his family turned into a powerful killing intent, causing Longao's strength to increase again. Kacha. The shocking blade aura once again beheaded another venerable. Out of the 10 venerables, only 3 venerables remained. Seeing this situation, everyone was completely moved. It seemed like Longao had already chosen to fight to the death with the Blood Sea sect. Under the suppression of Longao's powerful aura, 2 of the remaining 3 venerables were killed. In other words, in just a few minutes, out of the original 10 venerables, only 1 venerables was left. Moreover, he was heavily injured and was fiercely kicked to the ground by Longao. Stepping on the venerables, Longao said coldly, "Guanfeng, stop." Guanfeng and Ao Tian, who were fighting fiercely, forced each other away. Guanfeng stared at the young man above and said coldly, "Longao, a debt of blood must be paid with blood. Today, I will cut you into pieces. Out of the 10 venerables, 9 were dead and 1 was heavily injured. The Blood Sea sect had suffered a great loss. As the master of the Blood Sea sect, how could Guan Feng not be angry? Ignoring Guan Feng's anger and ruthless words, Longao fiercely stepped on the venerables' heads. Gotcha! The venerables' heads exploded. Just as Guan Feng rushed up, Longao's voice rolled out. Guan Feng, I challenge you now. Do you dare to accept? Chapter 300. Longao is challenging Guan Feng? Looking at Longao on the martial arts field, everyone was confused, wondering what was going on with Longao. Could it be that Longao was blinded by his desire to kill? Brother Dugu, what's wrong with Brother Long? I don't know. Dugu Bai's expression was also extremely solemn. It wasn't easy for Ghost King Ao Tian to lend a hand. As long as Longao chose to withdraw at this time, he believed that it would be more than enough to save his life. One had to admit that Longao was indeed very strong. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was number 1 under the Supremes. But was Longao a match for a Supremes? Without a doubt, Longao was definitely not a match for a Supremes. Because everyone knew that the gap between the two was huge. They weren't on the same level. Because of this, Longao challenging Guan Feng, in everyone's opinion, Longao was simply courting death. Hearing that Longao wanted to challenge Guan Feng, Xia Fang's heart was filled with joy. This time, Ghost King Ao Tian suddenly intervened, giving Longao a great chance to leave the Blood River sect. But now, Longao's arrogance meant that he was destined to be killed. Longao was a Supremes, Guan Feng was a Supremes. A Supremes challenging a Supremes was like a child challenging a big man. There was no challenge at all. Everyone was dumbfounded, because no one expected that Longao would suddenly challenge Guan Feng, a Supremes. You want to challenge me? Not to mention others, just Guan Feng himself seemed to have heard the funniest thing in the world. Guan Feng, don't tell me you don't dare? Ha ha ha, why wouldn't I dare? I want to see how you're going to challenge me today. Moving with the wind, Guan Feng's figure stood firmly on the Blood River martial arts field. His face was filled with disdain and ridicule. A puny Supremes wanted to challenge him? Longao, don't be reckless. Ghost King Ao Tian's face was gloomy to the point of fear. He had already made his move, preparing to take Longao away. But what about Longao? Challenging Guan Feng, could it be that Longao was really confident? It was impossible, and it wasn't just proud heaven who didn't believe it. In fact, no one would believe it. Ao Tian, this is the Blood River sect. You're not welcome here, please leave. Humph, this battle is unavoidable. Without waiting for Dugu Bai and Xia Jun to say anything, Longao had already waved his hand. Although he did not say anything, the expression on his face already told everyone that he and the Blood Sea sect would not rest until one of them died. Dugu Bai and Xia Jun knew Longao's character very well. Once he made up his mind, even 10 bulls wouldn't be able to pull him back, let alone change his mind. Ha ha, what an arrogant kid! Longao, the two of us would like to see how you're going to defeat the master. At this moment, 2 terrifying auras approached from afar. Both of them were old men with white hair. Their bodies were thin and weak, as if they could be blown away by the wind. 2 Supremes? The 2 old men were none other than the 2 Supremes of the Blood River sect, Supremes Guan Tong and Ma Ying. Both of them were high-level Supremes. Together with Guan Feng, they were known as the Supremes of the Blood River sect. Uncle Ma! Seeing the 2 Supremes, Guan Feng bowed respectfully. Although he was the master of the Blood River sect, the 2 of them were the pillars of the Blood River sect. Moreover, Guan Tong was Guan Feng's uncle, his blood uncle. Looking at the 2 Supremes who suddenly appeared, Longao wasn't worried at all. He still stood there arrogantly, staring at Guan Feng. Longao, you killed 10 Supremes of my Blood River sect. This hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. However, I'll give you a chance. Fight with Guan Feng. As long as you win, you can leave. Although it sounded like he was giving Longao a chance, everyone knew that Longao had no chance of defeating Guanfeng. After all, the gap between Supremes and Supremes was too big. Humph, I just made an agreement with Guanfeng. If I defeat the 10 Supremes, the entire Blood River sect will commit suicide. I wonder if the Blood River sect will fulfill the agreement? Longao's words caused the entire Blood River sect to become silent. Everyone had heard the agreement between Longao and Guanfeng. If Longao won the battle against the 10 Zun cultivators, the entire Blood Sea sect would commit suicide. But would the Blood Sea sect do that? Guanfeng and the 2 Supremes' expressions were extremely ugly. Committing suicide? What kind of joke was this? Guanfeng didn't say anything because the agreement between him and Longao was true. However, no matter what, the Blood River sect wouldn't commit suicide. Moreover, Longao would definitely die. Seeing that Guanfeng did not speak, the surrounding people began to discuss spiritedly. Most of them were mocking and disdainful. Everyone was very clear that Guanfeng would definitely not fulfill the agreement and commit mass suicide. No one would do such a thing unless they were idiots. Longao, the agreement between you and Guanfeng is impossible to fulfill. However, I'll give you a chance this time. As long as you can defeat Guanfeng, you can leave. Moreover, today's matter will be written off. Guantong's words didn't attract any ridicule or disdain. No matter what, Guantong was much stronger than Guanfeng. At least he dared to face it head-on. I don't want to fulfill the agreement. I'll speak the truth, unlike Guanfeng who only knows how to remain silent. All right, you're straightforward. I'll fight with Guanfeng. If I lose, I'll commit suicide. However, if I win, the entire Blood River sect will commit suicide. Does the Blood River sect dare to accept my challenge? Here it comes again. Hearing Longao's challenge, Guanfeng and the other 2 Supremes' expressions changed. The more confident Longao was, the less confident they were. Even though they firmly believed that a Supremes couldn't defeat a Supremes. Longao, you're really arrogant. Ha ha ha, for a sect that doesn't keep its promises, no matter how many agreements there are, it's useless. I don't want to look down on the Blood River sect anymore. Guanfeng, let's fight to the death. I only have one request. No one is allowed to interfere in our battle. Otherwise, the Blood River sect will suffer the wrath of the heavens. The Blood River sect dared to violate the agreement with Longao, but they didn't dare to violate the agreement between the heavens and the earth. Guanfeng knew that if he continued to remain silent, the Blood River sect would really be finished. Without waiting for the 2 Supremes to say anything, Guanfeng took a step forward and coldly said, "Fine, you and I will have a battle of life and death. We won't rest until one of us is dead. No matter who wins or loses, no one will disturb us. Longao, I really want to know what gave you such great courage to actually dare to challenge me." Chapter 301. Guanfeng, you will die today. Longao's words made Guanfeng laugh out loud. Longao's successful counterattack shocked everyone in the surroundings. With the strength of a single person, he had killed 10 venerables of the Blood Sea sect. Who could compare to Longao? Everyone was sure that once Longao grows up, he will become a powerhouse of the continent. But now, Longao challenging Guanfeng was a suicidal move. After all, the gap between honorables and supreme was there. Because of this, no one thought highly of Longao, even though many hoped to see Longao's counterattack. Longao and Guanfeng didn't continue to speak. Both of them stared at each other. At the same time, a powerful aura erupted from their bodies and collided with each other. Beside the blood pool. Ghost King, long time no see. Congratulations on becoming a supreme warrior. Thank you. I didn't think that Longao's matter would disturb the 2 of you. Waving his hand, Guantong's face did not show any displeasure. He smiled and said, Ghost King, the Blood Sea sect will withdraw from the alliance. The position of Tianzhou's overlord will belong to the Ghost King sect. You did well. With a Ghost King like you, the Ghost King sect will not fall in the next 100 years. One had to admit that Guan Tong had a high opinion of the Ghost King Ao Tian. Ao Tian was very surprised. He didn't think that the Blood Sea House would suddenly withdraw from the competition. Based on the strength of the 6 houses, it was actually the Blood Sea House and the Ghost King House who were fighting for the position of the ruler of the Tianzhou. Thank you? Ao Tian was not stupid. He knew what the Blood Sea sect's withdrawal meant. In other words, from now on, the Ghost King sect will be undefeatable and can easily dominate Tianzhou. Tianzhou is divided into 6 sections. They are the Ghost King sect, Golden Sun sect, Sound of Thunder sect, Blood Sea sect, Wind Thunder sect, and Flame sect. The Blood Sea sect and the Ghost King sect were the most powerful. Within each sect, there were 3 supreme warriors. Now that the Blood Sea sect had withdrawn, the remaining 4 sects would not dare to compete with the Ghost King sect for the position of Tianzhou. When one's cultivation broke through to the Supreme Being realm, the spiritual source in one's body would form a golden core, and all of one's strength would be concentrated within the golden core. The biggest difference between a venerable and a Supreme Being was the golden core. Once a Supreme Being used his golden core, he could almost instantly kill a venerable. This was the biggest difference between a venerable and a Supreme Being. Longao didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. At this time, Guanfeng seemed to be a little impatient. With a big stride, he had already rushed over. In order to end the battle as quickly as possible, Guanfeng directly used his sovereign golden core. A terrifying spiritual source came crashing down, covering the sky and covering the earth like a violent storm. What a terrifying power of the sovereign golden core! At this time, Longao moved sideways and began to attack Guanfeng from the left. However, Guanfeng did not put Longao in his eyes at all. He directly struck back with his palm. Longao chose to meet force with force, because he wanted to personally test the true strength of Ji Zun. When the fist and palm collided, a terrifying palm energy and fist energy spread out in all directions. Before anyone could figure out what had happened, Longao's body was sent flying. What a shock! Longao never imagined that a Supreme Being's strength could reach such a level. He stopped abruptly and turned around to look at Guanfeng. He coldly said, "A Supreme Being is only SOSO. A Supreme Being is only SOSO." Hearing Longao's words, everyone was a little dumbfounded. Wasn't Longao too arrogant? He didn't even put a Supreme Being in his eyes. He was really boasting shamelessly. "Ha ha, only SOSO? Let me show you the true strength of a Supreme Being." Just now, it was just a warm-up. At this moment, Guanfeng used all the strength in his body and rushed over again. However, before Guanfeng could get close, his face slightly changed. Guanfeng found that his body had been locked. Of course, he knew that it was Longao's doing. He didn't dare to be careless. Of course, Guanfeng knew that Longao had used this move to kill the 10 venerables. How could he repeat the same mistake? The powerful sovereign golden core crazily revolved. In just a short second, Guanfeng had already broken through the lock and rushed out again. Halfway through, Guanfeng found that the flow of time around him had changed. He suppressed his anger and forcefully revolved his sovereign golden core, frantically breaking through the flow of time. However, at this moment, Guanfeng let out a muffled groan as his entire body was sent flying. Plop! He fell heavily to the ground. Seeing Guanfeng's body flying out, everyone was shocked. They didn't know what happened to Guanfeng. Could it be that he was attacked by Longao? Impossible, it was just the start of the second move. Even if Longao was a Supreme Being, it was impossible for him to defeat Guanfeng in one move. Plop! Guanfeng's body made the most intimate contact with the ground. The 2 Supreme Beings of the Blood Sea sect looked at each other. They could see a trace of shock in each other's eyes. Could it be that Guanfeng was dead? Although the 2 Supreme Beings didn't believe it, they still couldn't sense any aura from Guanfeng. This could only mean one thing: Guanfeng was killed in one move. Longao killed Guanfeng in one move? The 2 Supreme Beings didn't believe it at all. However, when they saw Longao staring coldly at Guanfeng, who was lying on the ground, the two Supreme Beings knew that something was wrong. Not daring to be careless, the two Supreme Beings quickly rushed out and arrived at the mountain in the blink of an eye. There was no need to check at all. The two Supreme Beings' faces instantly turned gloomy and were filled with disbelief. A Supreme Being killed in one move? You killed Guanfeng? Longao killed a Supreme Being in one move. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Shock was written all over their faces. Even if everyone didn't believe it, how could they not believe it when two Supreme Beings said it? Everyone foolishly looked at the black-clothed, white-haired youth. At this moment, Longao was like a god of death standing on the blood-pool training field. Longao and Xia Jun fiercely swallowed their saliva. Until now, they finally knew why Longao was so confident. It turned out that he had nothing to fear. He killed a Supreme Being in one move. Just this point alone, who could be a match for Longao's strength? Not to mention dominating a Supreme Being, even sweeping away a Supreme Being wouldn't be a problem. Huashir's face turned extremely ugly. He felt despair in his heart. No matter what, Golden Sun Sect couldn't afford to provoke a person who could kill a Supreme Being in one move. He would be a sinner if he led the whole sect to eternal damnation for his own hatred. Among them, the one who was most shocked was Ghost King Ao Tian. Because he clearly knew what it meant to kill Guanfeng in one move. Even he couldn't do this. Didn't this mean that even he wasn't a match for Longao? What number 1 Supreme Being? What bullshit number 1 under Supreme Being? According to Longao's strength, he could look down on Supreme Beings. P.S. Today's 10 chapters are over. Xiao Jiao is going to rest. Good night, everyone. Chapter 302. Shaking his head, Longao's face was filled with disdain. Blood River Sect's master, a sovereign of a generation, is only SOSO. He couldn't even block one of my moves. If the Longao from before dared to say such words, he would definitely be ridiculed by everyone. But now, Longao killed Guanfeng in one move. Such strength was enough to make Longao arrogant. No matter what, the other party's strength was there for all to see. This time, Longao was very careful against Guanfeng, because the slightest carelessness could lead to eternal damnation. The Fire Qilin had given Longao a total of 3 drops of blood essence to deal with the 3 Supremes. It was precisely because of this that when Longao first started fighting with Guanfeng, he deliberately met force with force in order to cause Guanfeng to underestimate him. Perhaps because the gap between a sovereign and a sovereign was too big, Guanfeng didn't put Longao in his eyes at all. Being able to kill 10 martial highnesses and killing a 9 heaven supreme were 2 completely different concepts. Underestimation killed people, this saying was not false at all. Because of his underestimation, Longao used the Fire Qilin's blood essence to attack Guanfeng's soul and killed him in one move. It could be said that Guanfeng was a tragedy from the beginning to the end, the biggest tragedy. He was killed by a sovereign in one move. If this matter were to spread out, he would definitely be laughed at. No matter what, Longao's success in killing Guanfeng could be considered a fortune in the midst of misfortune. Longao let out a long sigh of relief. He was very clear in his heart that he couldn't reveal the slightest clue, otherwise there would be big trouble. Sovereign Guantong, Sovereign Ma Ying. The 2 sovereigns of the Blood River sect stared at the black-clothed, white-haired youth in front of them. Their faces were very ugly and incomparably gloomy. Longao, an ordinary disciple of the Scarlet Fire Town's Long family. Longao, a nobody who had risen less than a year ago. If it was any other time, a minor character like Longao would not even be placed in the eyes of the Blood Sea sect. But now, it was precisely such a minor character who dared to barge into the Blood River sect alone. Not only did he kill 10 venerables, he even killed their master. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, would they have believed it? Even though they were unwilling to admit it, both Supreme Ma Ying and Supreme Guantong had to admit that the young man's talent and strength were outstanding even in the entire 9 continents, let alone the Tianzhou continent. The 2 of them cursed Guanfeng fiercely in their hearts, because if it wasn't for the master exterminating his family first, they believed that Longao wouldn't have come knocking on their door. If Longao didn't come here, the house wouldn't have lost 10 seniors and 1 supreme. With the house's capabilities, they could have been the conqueror of Tianzhou. But now, the house had lost 10 seniors and 1 supreme. With the house's current capabilities, they had lost the right to be the conqueror of Tianzhou. Even though their hearts were filled with anger, the 2 supreme beings were still prepared to kill Longao. Because if Longao left here alive, the Blood River sect losing their conqueror status was a small matter, but losing face was a big matter. Longao, I want to know, how did you do it? The 2 supreme beings were very curious. How did Longao do it? After all, they had just sensed that Guanfeng's soul was destroyed. Could it be that Longao's soul was already this strong? How I did it has nothing to do with you. He couldn't be bothered to waste words with the 2. After all, he still had 2 drops of the fire Qilin's blood essence. As long as he used them properly, he had a chance to kill the 2 supreme beings. Longao's principle was very simple. If people didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. If people offended him, he would pay them back double. The Blood River sect had destroyed his own family, so he would destroy the entire Blood River sect. If he wanted to destroy the Blood Sea sect, there were 2 biggest obstacles: 10 venerables and 3 supremes. Longao had already killed 10 venerables and 1 supremes. As long as he killed the remaining 2 supremes, the Blood Sea sect would definitely be destroyed today. At the beginning, everyone thought that Longao would definitely lose this battle. Whether or not he would be able to keep his life was a problem. But now, Longao had successfully counterattacked and killed the 10 seniors in Guanfeng, shocking everyone. To be able to kill a supreme in one move, one could imagine how terrifying Longao's strength was. It was precisely because of this that everyone had a feeling that once Longao fought against the remaining 2 supreme beings of the Blood Sea sect, he would definitely be able to continue and instantly kill the 2 supreme beings. This was a bit impossible, but Longao had already successfully counterattacked. Since he had already counterattacked once, why couldn't he do it a second time? Big Brother Dugu, was what I saw just now real? Nodding, Dugubai also sighed and said, It's really hard to believe that Brother Long could kill Guanfeng in one move. Just with this strength, Brother Long has a place in the Tianzhou. Xia Jun naturally knew what it meant to be able to kill a supreme in one move. Surpassing his peers and looking down on the 9 provinces. It was because they saw Longao's strength that the 2 supreme beings didn't dare to act recklessly. If Longao really could kill them in one move, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. I'm officially challenging you now. Do you dare to accept? Longao challenging 2 supreme beings? Everyone was already used to it. No matter what, Longao had just challenged Guanfeng. Everyone thought that Longao would be killed by Guanfeng, but the result was the opposite. Longao killed Guanfeng in one move. Because of this, many people were used to Longao challenging the 2 supreme beings. In everyone's opinion, if Longao could kill Guanfeng, then he could kill the 2 supreme beings in one move. Guantong and Ma Ying's expressions were extremely ugly. If it was an ordinary supreme who challenged them, they wouldn't even put them in their eyes. But Longao, the 2 of them really didn't dare to accept the challenge. Just thinking about how Longao killed Guanfeng in one move, they were truly afraid. Silence. The 2 supreme beings both chose to remain silent. No one was an idiot. Of course, they knew that the 2 supremes chose to remain silent because they were afraid. However, no one despised or ridiculed them. No matter what, if they were in their place, would they dare to accept the challenge? The boundless blood sea was silent. No one spoke. The voice of Longao challenging the 2 supreme beings still drifted in everyone's ears for a long time. Both sides were in a deadlock. Longao, you're too presumptuous. At this time, an unparalleled and powerful aura suddenly soared up from somewhere in the Blood Sea Peak. It directly enveloped the entire Blood Sea Peak. Everyone who sensed this aura turned pale with fright. Each and every one of them looked at a certain place in shock. At this moment, a figure shot over rapidly. Not long after, an old man suddenly appeared in the sky above the boundless blood sea. He floated quietly in the void just like that. This was the so-called emptiness Earth's sovereign. Chapter 303. Earthly Venerable Nothingness. Of course, all the warriors present knew what earthly venerable nothingness meant. Earthly venerable nothingness was a super-existence that was above honorable martial artists. It represented the ability to fly for a short period of time. In other words, as long as a warrior could fly, it meant that he was at least earthly venerable nothingness. The biggest difference between earthly venerable nothingness and earthly venerable nothingness was the ability to fly. It was like one was in the sky and the other was on the ground. There was no doubt that the one on the ground could defeat the one in the sky. Greetings, old ancestor. Seeing the sudden appearance of their ancestor, both Guan Tong and Ma Ying's faces lit up with joy and they bowed respectfully. Old ancestor Guan Hang? Others might not know this person, but Ao Tian was sure and the others knew him. Guan Hang was hailed as the most outstanding person in the Blood Sea sect for 100 years. However, he had mysteriously disappeared 10 years ago. There were rumors that Guan Hang had fallen. However, it seemed that Guan Hang had not fallen 10 years ago. He had chosen to cultivate in seclusion to become an earthly venerable. Earthly venerables were divided into 3 levels. They were Level 1 Earthly Venerable, Level 2 Earthly Venerable, and Level 3 Earthly Venerable. As for what level of Earthly Venerable Guan Hang was, it was unknown. Brother Dugu this. Dugubai waved his hand. His face was extremely gloomy. He had never thought that there would be an earthly venerable nothingness in the Blood Sea sect. Both Dugubai and Xia Jun knew clearly what earthly venerable nothingness meant. In other words, as long as earthly venerable nothingness was present, even if they lost 10 honorables and 1 honorable, what could they do? An earthly venerable was enough to resist 100 honorables and 100 honorables. This was the so-called deterrent power of earthly venerable nothingness. We can't help Brother Long. We can only resign ourselves to fate. Dugubai sighed deeply in his heart. He knew that as a friend, he had done all he could. If Longao had stopped in time, this matter would not have ended up like this. Even when Longao had killed 10 sovereigns, he hadn't drawn out this super expert. But now, a sovereign had died. Moreover, he was the master of the Blood Sea sect. One could imagine how Sovereign Void would react. Ao Tian cursed Long Ao in his heart. Why did you go and kill Guan Feng? Now you have provoked a super expert. Not to mention a small Long Ao, even the Ghost King's sect could not be Guan Hang's opponent. To be able to kill 10 venerables and a martial saint of my Blood Sea sect by yourself, Long Ao, you can be considered the first person in all of history. No one doubted Guan Hang's evaluation, because Long Ao's achievements were indeed unparalleled. After this battle, regardless of whether or not Long Ao was able to leave the Blood Sea sect, his name would definitely shake the 9 provinces. Nonsense! Nonsense? Did Long Ao just say that Sovereign Void was talking nonsense? Everyone thought that they had heard wrongly. Long Ao was too arrogant. He didn't even put Sovereign Void in his eyes. But since things had come to this point, everyone was looking forward to what would happen next. Guan Hang smiled and turned around. His face instantly turned gloomy. He pondered and said, "Too good for nothings. They actually let an idiot run amok here." Guan Tong and Ma Ying didn't dare to speak. They just stood there quietly. They didn't even dare to look at him. Both of them knew that the great ancestor in front of them had a bad temper. If he said that he would kill them, he would kill them. If they were really killed, where could they go to seek justice? Ghost King, the Blood Sea sect has withdrawn from the Tianzhou contest. Go back and send my regards to your grandfather. Understood. In front of the Void Earthly Sovereign, even Ao Tian did not dare to be impudent. However, the Ghost King had nothing to fear. This was because not only did the Blood Sea sect have the Void Earthly Sovereign, even the Ghost King's sect had the Void Earthly Sovereign. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. No one present was a fool. Of course, they knew what Guan Heng meant. Both the Blood Sea sect and the Ghost King's sect had sovereign void? The other four sects knew that they couldn't compete with the strength of the Blood Sea sect and the Ghost King sect. After all, sovereign void's strength was there for all to see. It was also at this moment that the other four sects completely gave up and the Blood Sea sect withdrew from the contest. Without a doubt, the Tianzhou Overlord would be the Ghost King sect from now on. With sovereign void, the Ghost King sect's position would be unshakable unless the forces of the other 8 prefectures entered. However, Ghost King Ao Tian wasn't happy at all. There were 2 reasons. First, with Guan Heng's appearance, Longao would definitely die. There was no doubt about that. Second, with Sovereign Void and the Blood Sea sect, it would always be a threat to the Ghost King sect. Ao Tian was a typical leftist. If Longao was beneficial to him, he would try his best to protect Longao. If Longao wasn't beneficial to him, he would try his best to kill Longao. Senior, Longao is my son-in-law. I hope you can give the Ghost King sect some face for today's matter. No. Without even thinking, Guan Heng directly refused. What a joke. Longao caused havoc in the Blood Sea sect this time. Not only did he kill 10 sovereigns of the Blood Sea sect, he even killed a sovereign. If he let Longao leave smoothly, how would the Blood Sea sect's face be? How would he explain to the ancestors of the Blood Sea sect? As if he had already guessed it, Ao Tian still sighed deeply. Ao Tian, I've already given the Ghost King sect a lot of face. Don't push your luck. Otherwise, if the Blood Sea sect fights for the Tianzhou Overlord, it won't be easy for the Ghost King sect to become the Tianzhou Overlord. Brother Guan, there's no need to be angry. Longao is just a child. He did something wrong in a moment of impulse. At this time, a burst of laughter came from afar. In the blink of an eye, a black-clothed old man appeared in front of everyone. He looked similar to Ao Tian and Ao Xue. Seeing the old man, Ao Tian's face lit up. He bowed respectfully and said, "Grandfather." Waving his hand, Ao Shichong smiled and looked at Guan Heng in front of him. He said, "Brother Guan, we haven't seen each other for 10 years. You've really become an earthly venerable. Congratulations." "Humph, Ao Shichong, you don't have to be like this. You're already a level 2 earthly venerable. You're the number 1 in Tianzhou." "Ha ha ha, Brother Guan, others don't know, but don't you know? Tianzhou looks simple, but it's full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Not to mention earthly venerables, even on the surface, there are 12 heavenly venerables. It's just that these seniors are rarely seen." Heavenly venerable. Guan Heng knew that this level of super-existence could only be imagined. It wasn't easy to meet them. Another earthly venerable? Looking at the old man who suddenly appeared, everyone knew clearly that this was the earthly venerable of the Ghost King sect. According to Guan Heng, this earthly venerable seemed to have reached the level of a second-level earthly venerable. P.S. I have something important to do in the afternoon. I'll update the 3rd chapter later. The rest will be in the evening. Chapter 304. 2 Void Earthly Venerables. Among the 6 major sects, only the Blood Sea sect and the Ghost King's sect had void earthly venerables. Ao Shichong, do you want to interfere in the feud between the Blood Sea sect and Longao? Guan Heng was not a fool. He knew that Ao Shichong would not come out for no reason. Was it because of a small Longao? Because of this, Guan Heng was extremely shocked. No matter what, his opponent was a second-grade earthly venerable, while he was only a first-grade earthly venerable. If they were to really fight, he had no confidence that he could defeat Ao Shichong. There were 3 realms in the earthly venerate. The difference between level 1 earthly venerate, level 2 earthly venerate, and level 3 earthly venerate was huge. If Ao Shichong really wanted to interfere, it would be really troublesome. Brother Guan, Longao is only a child. He was reckless this time. Ao Shichong's words were very clear. This time, he had come to protect Longao. He wanted to see whether the Blood Sea sect would give him face or not. If it was an ordinary warrior, the Blood Sea sect wouldn't even bother with him. However, the identity and strength of the opposite party were there. The Blood Sea sect didn't dare to refuse. Dugubai and Xia Jun were overjoyed. They never thought that the Ghost King sect's elder ancestor would suddenly descend. This matter was really full of twists and turns. With the help of an earthly sovereign, Longao was finally free of worries. Ao Shichong, Longao killed 10 of my venerables and the sect master. Is this what a child would do? Without waiting for Ao Shichong to speak, Guanheng continued. Longao must pay with his blood. No matter who it is, if they dare to stop us, we will kill them. Guanheng's words were mainly directed at the Ghost King sect. Guanheng did not care about anyone here, except for Ao Shichong. Hearing this, Ao Shichong's face gradually turned cold. No matter what, he had already come out. Guanheng should at least give him some face. But the result? Guanheng did not give him any face at all. The Blood Sea sect had already suppressed the Ghost King sect. Ao Shichong knew that if this matter could not be settled, even if the Ghost King sect became the overlord of the Tianzhou, there would be people who would not accept it. At least, many people would say that the Blood Sea sect had suppressed the Ghost King sect. It was because of this that Ao Shichong would not back down. Ao Shichong sneered and said, Guanheng, you have to understand that the battle between Longao and the 10 venerables was a battle of life and death. Life and death are determined by fate. Victory and defeat are determined by the heavens. You can't blame anyone else. Guanfeng only has himself to blame. Could it be that the Blood Sea sect wants to play dirty? He was rendered speechless. This was because Guanheng knew very well that this was indeed the case. Longao had openly defeated the 10 venerables and Guanfeng. Even he himself could not deny this. But was he really going to let Longao go? If that was really the case, what would happen to the face of the Blood Sea sect? He would definitely become the laughing stock of the world. Longao, I'm officially challenging you now. Do you dare to accept? Puchi. Hearing this, mocking laughter came from all around. Guanheng challenged Longao? It was simply shameless to the extreme. One had to know that Guanheng was a genuine earthly venerable, but he wanted to challenge a venerables. Moreover, it was a youth who had already fought 2 battles. Just this point alone showed that Guanheng's shamelessness was simply unmatched. Guanheng, I originally thought that you were someone, but now it seems that you're just SOSO. Guanheng completely ignored everyone's contempt and even ignored Ao Shichong's mockery. He only knew one thing, and that was that no matter what happened, Longao must die. He must not let him leave the Blood Sea sect. It was precisely because of this that Guanheng would rather be ridiculed and despised by others and insisted on keeping Longao. If Ao Shichong did not appear, then he could kill Longao at any time. However, the situation was different now. Ao Shichong of the Ghost King sect was right beside him. If he forcefully killed Longao, then Ao Shichong would also act. At that time, not only would he be in trouble, but even the sect would be in trouble. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he would not agree. Longao had never thought that the Blood Sea sect would have Void Earthly Venerable in charge. He was very clear about Void Earthly Venerable's strength. Even if he used the remaining 2 drops of Fire Qilin blood essence, it was impossible to kill Void Earthly Venerable. Seeing that Longao did not accept the challenge, Guanheng's face was gloomy to the extreme. How could Guanheng not understand Longao's meaning? If Longao refused to accept the challenge, could he really kill Longao by force? Ao Shichong on the other side was watching covetously. Once the Ghost King sect and Ao Shichong really fell out, and wanted to protect Longao, then could he really block them? Guanheng, Longao is unwilling to accept the challenge. Can we leave now? Leave? With a cold snort, Guanheng suddenly asked. Ao Shichong, I want to ask you, what right do you have to intervene in this matter? Guanheng, if you are not stupid, I will tell you that Longao is a member of my Ghost King sect. Ao Shichong, are you deliberately looking for trouble? Longao was a member of the Ghost King sect? Not to mention Guanheng, Even the others were a little confused. They did not know when Longao had become a member of the Ghost King sect. Ha ha, ignorant fool! If Longao and Aoshua get married, won't he become a member of my Ghost King sect? Am I right? Hearing this, Guan Heng's face was gloomy to the extreme. Under normal circumstances, if Longao and Aoshua got married, Longao would definitely be a member of the Ghost King sect. If that was the case, killing Longao was equivalent to going against the Ghost King sect. Longao was also a little shocked by Ao Shicheng's words. This was because the Ghost King sect had not agreed to him and Aoshua from the beginning. Longao smiled helplessly. He clearly knew that the reason why the other party had protected him was because they had taken a fancy to his talent and potential. Otherwise, why would the Ghost King sect offend the entire Blood Sea sect for the sake of one person? However, no matter what, Longao was not a reckless person. Today, an earthly venerable had appeared in the Blood Sea sect. It was almost impossible for him to destroy the Blood Sea sect. Since that was the case, where there was life, there was hope. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. As long as he could leave the Blood Sea sect alive, there would be plenty of opportunities for revenge in the future. Thinking of this, Longao did not say anything and let Ao Shicheng handle the matter. Ao Shicheng also began to release his aura. A grade 2 earthly venerable was no joke. Once the battle started, the Blood Sea sect would be the one to suffer in the end. However, the Blood Sea sect could be said to have suffered a great loss. They had lost a total of 10 sovereigns and 1 sovereign. If it was not for the lack of confidence, the Blood Sea sect would not have to withdraw from the battle for supremacy. Guan Heng was very unwilling. The Blood Sea sect had already withdrawn from the battle. If they could not even kill Longao, then the Blood Sea sect might as well just die. The Blood Sea sect could not accept such humiliation. Chapter 305. Ha ha ha, Ao Shicheng, no matter how you quibble, Longao will definitely die today. As he spoke, Guan Heng's body had already shot towards Longao. The strength of an earthly venerable was extremely strong. With Longao's current strength, it was impossible for him to compete with him. However, before Longao could dodge, Ao Shicheng had already made his move. The two earthly venerables instantly engaged in an earth-shattering battle. Just their aura alone was enough to scare off many warriors. Ao Shicheng, my Blood Sea sect and your Ghost King sect will not rest until one of us is dead. Ha ha, any time. He simply ignored Guan Heng's threat. No matter what, the strength of the Ghost King sect was there. Even if they provoked the Blood Sea sect, so what? Ao Shicheng knew very well that even if there was no Longao's matter, the Ghost King sect and the Blood Sea sect would still go to war. Longao had killed 10 venerables and 1 sovereign, causing the Blood Sea sect's strength to be greatly damaged. Although they had temporarily withdrawn from the battle, the Ghost King sect was not stupid. Once the Blood Sea sect recovered, they would definitely make a comeback. No matter when, the Blood Sea sect was the biggest hidden danger. Since they had to face the Blood Sea sect in a life and death battle, why didn't the Ghost King sect choose now and wait for the Blood Sea sect to become stronger in the future? Because of this, Ao Shicheng decided to kill Guan Heng. When the time came, the Ghost King sect would join forces with the other 4 sects to deal with the Blood Sea sect. He believed that the Blood Sea sect would not be able to resist for long. How could Guan Heng not know what Ao Shicheng was thinking? Originally, they had the chance to fight for the position of Tianzhou. However, because of Guan Feng's wrong decision, the Blood Sea sect had fallen into a passive situation and was restrained everywhere. Guan Heng clearly knew that Longao had to be killed and the Ghost King sect must be dealt with. Otherwise, the Blood Sea sect would be in big trouble. The battle between the two earthly venerables started from the ground to mid-air. It was very exciting. Longao did not care about the battle at all. He rushed towards the 2 sovereigns. His intention was very clear. Seeing Longao's actions, everyone was completely convinced. The old ancestor of the Blood Sea sect, the earthly venerable rank martial artist Guan Heng, had already made his move. If not for the old ancestor of the Ghost King sect, it was likely that Longao would have been killed by now. It was not easy for the two earthly venerables to fight. Not only did Longao not take advantage of this opportunity to leave the Blood Sea sect, he even took the initiative to attack the two sovereigns. In everyone's eyes, Longao's actions were simply ignorant of the immensity of heaven and earth. Under normal circumstances, Longao wouldn't be a match for one Supreme Being, let alone two. Longao wouldn't even be a match for one Supreme Being. However, the current situation was completely different. Longao had killed Guanfeng in an instant. The two great masters were already scared out of their wits. They didn't even need to fight. They had already determined that Longao's strength was above theirs. Even if he couldn't kill them in an instant, he could at least kill them within 10 moves. Of course, the two Supreme Beings were afraid of death. It was because of this fear that they didn't dare to fight Longao head-on. However, Longao clearly didn't want to give the Blood Sea sect any chance to make a comeback. It wasn't easy for the earthly venerable of the Ghost King sect to help him. If Guan Hang and the remaining two Supreme Beings were killed, then the Blood Sea sect would truly be at its end. Thinking of this, Longao didn't hesitate to stake everything on this one throw and prepare to kill the two Supreme Beings. Longao's actions, in the eyes of outsiders, were reckless. However, in the eyes of Dugabai and Xiajun, Longao was definitely filled with confidence. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so reckless. Before this, everyone thought that Longao would definitely die after causing havoc in the Blood Sea sect. But what was the result? Longao successfully counterattacked. Although they didn't know how Longao did it, one thing was certain: Longao really did it. Not only did he kill 10 Supreme Beings of the Blood Sea sect, he even killed one of their Supreme Beings. Such an achievement was enough to look down on the 9 provinces. Longao's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of the two Supreme Beings. "Longao, what are you doing?" The two Supreme Beings' question was really funny. However, in this situation, no one dared to laugh. They all looked at Longao foolishly, waiting to see what Longao would do. Although they knew that Longao wanted to kill the two Supreme Beings, everyone was still looking forward to it. After all, Longao was still a Supreme Being. Fighting 1 against 2, could he kill 2 Supreme Beings? "Longao, you dare!" Guanhang, who was fighting with Ao Shichong, saw that Longao had already intercepted the 2 Supreme Beings. His expression changed, as if he had thought of something. Although he didn't want to believe it, he knew that Longao could definitely do it. If it was an ordinary person, not to mention killing 2 Supreme Beings, they wouldn't even dare to step into the Blood Sea sect. But what about Longao? Not only did he kill his way into the Blood Sea sect alone, he also killed 10 Supreme Beings and 1 Supreme Being. With such a violent temper, he could definitely continue to chase after the 2 Supreme Beings. Being entangled by Ao Shichong, Guanhang was completely furious. The Blood Sea sect couldn't lose 2 Supreme Beings. Otherwise, he would be the only one left in the Blood Sea sect. However, Longao ignored Guanhang and had already made his move. This time, Longao was prepared to kill the 2 Supreme Beings in one strike. Otherwise, if the 2 Supreme Beings saw through his scheme, it would be troublesome. He still had 2 drops of the Fire Qilin's life essence blood left. As long as he could kill the 2 Supreme Beings in one strike, he would definitely be able to kill them. Under normal circumstances, the 2 Supreme Beings would definitely be on guard. But now, the 2 Supreme Beings' state of mind had changed. As they dodged, Longao's soul attacks smoothly invaded their bodies and souls. 2 miserable shrieks rang out. Before the crowd could figure out what was going on, the 2 Supreme Beings' bodies had already collapsed. Killing 2 Supreme Beings in one strike? Looking at the corpses on the ground, everyone was scared silly. Longao's strength was too strong. Not only could he kill 1 Supreme Being in one strike, he could even kill 2 Supreme Beings in one strike. With such strength, wouldn't he be able to look down on Supreme Beings? "Longao, I'll kill you!" 2 Supremes were killed right in front of his eyes. This kind of humiliation could be considered as an extraordinary humiliation. If he was unable to kill Longao, Guan Heng could totally commit suicide, because staying in this world would be a disgrace. However, Ao Shichong didn't give Guan Heng any chance at all. He was entangled with his opponent. A second-level earthly venerable was much stronger than a first-level earthly venerable. Ao Shichong was still holding back. Otherwise, Guan Heng's life would be uncertain. Ao Shichong, I'll have King kill you! Ha ha ha, with just you! Guan Heng, all the experts of your Blood Sea sect have been slaughtered. From now on, there will be no Blood Sea sect in Tianzhou. When the people of the 5 major sects heard this, they weren't happy at all. Everyone knew that the Blood Sea sect had an earthly venerable. As long as Guan Heng didn't die, the Blood Sea sect wouldn't be destroyed. Sooner or later, they would rise again. After all, an earthly venerable was more valuable than 3 supreme beings and 10 supreme beings. Chapter 306. The Blood Sea sect was in a tragic state. 10 reverends and 1 supreme being, that was almost all of the Blood Sea sect's assets. But now, they were all slaughtered by Longao, not a single one was left. Just a moment ago, Longao killed the remaining 2 supreme beings. Since then, the Blood Sea sect no longer had any reverends and supreme beings, only Guan Heng was left. At this moment, Guan Heng was furious to the extreme. Every move he made was vicious, hoping to kill Ao Shichong. But Ao Shichong was still a second-level supreme being. It was almost impossible for Guan Heng to kill him with his strength alone. The battle between the 2 supreme beings had reached its climax. They could lose their lives at any time. Longao sent the souls of the 2 supreme beings into the dragon seal space. He raised his head and looked at the battle in the sky coldly. Longao was depressed. Although his cultivation had reached the reverend realm, it was difficult for him to stand in the sky. It was almost impossible. Not to mention him, even a supreme being wouldn't be able to do it. Longao, I'm going to tear you to shreds. Ignoring Guan Heng's threat, Longao suddenly said coldly, You destroyed my Long family. I have already said that I will destroy your Blood Sea sect, not leaving a single one alive. Hearing this, Guan Heng, who was in the middle of a battle with Ao Shichong, was shocked. The surrounding people weren't fools. Of course, they understood what Longao meant. He wanted to destroy the Blood Sea sect? If Longao had said such big words before, he would definitely be laughed to death by everyone. However, at this moment, not a single person doubted him. Let's ask, for a devil that could instantly kill a sovereign, massacring the Blood Sea sect didn't seem to be a difficult matter. Slaughter. Longao's heart was filled with killing intent. At this moment, Longao's eyes were red. His whole body moved with the wind. The Blood Sea sect, one of the 6 great sects, had the strength to contend with the Ghost King sect. The Blood Sea sect had over 10,000 disciples. It would be impossible for Longao to slaughter them all by himself. However, Longao didn't do that. He summoned his 3 soul slaves, his 3 venerables, and himself. Next, Longao began to slaughter the Blood Sea sect. 1, 2, 3. In just a few minutes, over 100 people from the Blood Sea sect had already been killed. As for Guan Heng, who was unable to extricate himself from the battle, his entire body was trembling with rage. He was so angry that his state of mind had changed. He, who was already under control, became even more flustered. He was even hit by Ao Shichong's palm, followed by another. 1 hour later, the 2 utmost exalted were still fighting. However, the current Blood Sea sect was filled with corpses. Blood flowed like a river. Corpses were everywhere. According to the strength of Longao and his 3 soul slaves, the disciples of the Blood Sea sect were basically defenseless. They were like meat on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Brother Long, that's enough. Seeing Longao's endless slaughter, Dugubai and Xia Jun were shocked. They both knew that if Longao continued to slaughter like this, he would definitely be devoured by the slaughter. At that time, he would definitely become a killing tool. As friends, the two of them naturally didn't want to see Longao become a killing tool. However, the result was, he suddenly turned around. He had already slaughtered over 10,000 people. He had practically slaughtered the entire Blood Sea sect. Longao's eyes were bloodshot as he looked at Dugubai and Xia Jun. He coldly said, "You will all die." Before Dugubai and Xia Jun could react, Longao's corpse had already rushed over. It was a killing move. With Longao's current strength, he was already the number one person under the earthly exalted realm. With just the two of them, it was impossible for them to be a match for him. Dugubai and Xia Jun were shocked. Of course, they knew what had happened. The two of them didn't dare to be careless. They quickly turned around and left. At this moment, perhaps because Longao had killed too much, he was completely devoured by the slaughter. In his eyes there was only killing, killing, killing. Holding the bloodsucker broadsword, Longao crazily slaughtered the people from the 5 major sections. No matter who they were, he killed without mercy. No one could react to this sudden change. Longao's speed and strength were too terrifying. The people from the 5 major sects couldn't even dodge in time and were directly devoured by Longao. Longao was like a killing god. He killed everyone he saw, no matter who they were. If Longao wasn't strong, then the 5 major sects could at least kill him and protect themselves. However, the problem now was that Longao and the 3 soul slaves were practically invincible. Even Sir Firestone couldn't resist. If he hadn't run fast enough, he would have been killed by now. Dugubai and Xia Jun barely escaped. Looking at the corpses all over the ground and Longao who was still slaughtering the 5 major sects, their faces were so gloomy that water could drip from them. The two of them never thought that Longao would really be devoured by the slaughter and become a killing tool. Although the two of them were unwilling to admit it, they still knew that Longao was no longer the brother Long of the past. Since he had become a killing tool and slaughtered the 6 major sects, then from now on, Longao would be the common enemy of the 6 major sects, including the Sound of Thunder sect. "Brother Dugu, what should we do now?" Unless it was a last resort, Xia Jun definitely wouldn't want to lose this friend. Shaking his head, Dugubai said, "Brother Long has been devoured by the slaughter and has become a killing tool. There's no way for him to recover unless he's killed. However, with Longao's current strength, unless the 2 earthly venerables take action personally, no one can defeat him." Longao. Dugubai didn't continue to call him Brother Longao. Instead, he directly called him Longao. Xia Jun was shocked, because he already knew that even Dugubai had chosen to give up on Brother Long. Could it be that Brother Long would definitely die? Ao Shichong, Longao has now become a killing tool. If you and I continue to fight, once Longao leaves the Blood River sect, not to mention the other sects, even your Ghost King sect will suffer. You don't want to see your Ghost King sect being slaughtered, right? Ao Shichong, who was originally prepared to kill Guan Hang, heard this and his face became extremely gloomy. This was because he never thought that Longao would suddenly be devoured by the slaughter and become a killing tool. Just now, Longao had not only slaughtered the disciples of the Blood River sect, but also the disciples of the 5 major sections. If this situation continued, just as Guan Heng said, the Ghost King sect would not be spared. Ao Shichong cursed fiercely in his heart. He knew very well that the reason why Longao had become a killing tool was all because of the Blood River sect. However, no matter what, Longao had now become a killing tool. If he didn't stop it early, the consequences would be unimaginable. In the end, both of them stopped. Looking down at Longao, who was still slaughtering the 6 major sects, Guan Heng suddenly asked, "Are you going to do it, or should I? P.S. I just came back. Xiao Jiu, go and write immediately. Try to finish all the updates before 12. Chapter 307. Ao Shichong waved his hand. He was really unwilling to kill Longao. Ao Shichong was very optimistic about Longao's talent and potential. If he could recruit this person into the Ghost King sect, then this person's future would be limitless. But now the situation was completely different. Longao had been devoured by the massacre. If he was not killed, there was no doubt that Longao would become a killing tool. Ha ha, good. Guan Heng was excited to the extreme. He had thought that with Ao Shichang's intervention, it would be impossible to kill Longao today. However, things had taken a turn for the worse. Longao had been slaughtered and swallowed, and had become a tool of slaughter. Before he arrived, his powerful aura had already suppressed Guan Heng. Longao was directly locked on by his aura. There was no doubt that Longao was no match for Guan Heng. But at this moment, Longao did something that shocked everyone. 9 Needles Sealing Spirit. Many people knew about Longao's 9 Needles Sealing Spirit. It was because of 9 Needles Sealing Spirit that Longao defeated Zhang Jihang and took a blow from Zhang Mo. One could imagine how powerful 9 Needles Sealing Spirit was. 9 Needles Sealing Spirit could instantly improve a warrior's strength. According to Longao's current strength, he could already kill a Supreme Master. If he continued to use 9 Needles Sealing Spirit, how far could his strength break through? If Longao was at the peak of the Tao Ancestor, it was almost impossible for him to break through to the Void Realm with 9 Needles Sealing Spirit. But Longao used Fire Kylan's strength to break through to the Venerable Realm. If he used 9 Needles Sealing Spirit, it would not be difficult for him to break through to the peak of the Supreme Master. But Longao had already broken through to the Venerable Realm. If he continued to use 9 Needles Sealing Spirit, the consequences would be unimaginable. If Longao was awake, he would definitely not use 9 Needles Sealing Spirit. But now, Longao had been devoured by the massacre, and was in a delirious state. 9 Needles Sealing Spirit broke through to the peak of the Supreme Master in an instant. If Longao could break through to the earthly Venerable Realm with the help of the 9 Needles of God Sealing, then killing Guan Heng would be a piece of cake. However, the 9 Needles investiture technique was not omnipotent. In the end, Longao remained at the peak of the Supreme Martial Artist realm. Longao completely ignored Guan Heng and rushed out as well. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were already engaged in a fierce battle. Longao was not afraid of death at all. He chose the fiercest and wildest way of fighting, close combat. Guan Heng was also shocked, but even if the other party had used some kind of secret technique to break through to the Supreme Being level, a Supreme Being would always be a Supreme Being. With his current strength, Longao was still nothing in his eyes. Longao, you're courting death! At this moment, Longao didn't care about anything else. He only knew the word kill in his heart. Suddenly, the roars of a dragon and a tiger filled the air above the boundless blood sea. An enormous black dragon and an enormous black tiger appeared, glaring at Guan Heng. A dragon and a tiger. Everyone was dumbfounded by the sudden appearance of the dragon and tiger. In an instant, everyone understood what was going on. Longao was a dragon warrior. Dragon warrior was a mark unique to the Long family. Long family was one of the strongest powers in the martial heaven continent. Dragon warriors were also the strongest existences in the martial heaven continent. Without a doubt, to become a dragon warrior, one had to be a disciple of the 3rd rank or above of the Long family. Only then would they have the chance to enter the Dragon Valley and obtain companions. However, Longao was only a disciple of the Scarlet Fire Town's Long family. How could he enter the Dragon Valley and become a dragon warrior? Seeing the dragon and tiger suddenly appear, Guan Heng didn't feel the slightest fear. Instead, he was pleasantly surprised. Although he didn't dare to touch the dragon, he dared to touch the tiger. The dragon and tiger roared. One dragon and one tiger stood on Longao's left and right. At this moment, everyone knew that Longao was a dragon warrior. This time, Longao chose to take the initiative to attack. One man, one dragon, and one tiger shot out. Before they even arrived, 3 powerful auras intertwined, fiercely suppressing Guan Heng. However, Guan Heng didn't feel the slightest fear. Instead, he confidently attacked. An earthly venerable would always be an earthly venerable. His strength was unmatched. Not far away, Ao Shirchom, who was staring at Longao, sighed deeply. If such a heavenly genius joined the Ghost King sect, he believed that in less than 20 years, the Ghost King sect would dominate the Tianzhou continent. It wouldn't even be a problem for them to enter the 9 continents. However, all of this was just a fantasy. Longao had already been devoured by slaughter. He had become a tool of slaughter. Only by killing him could they stop him. Otherwise, Longao would become a scourge of the Tianzhou continent. A dragon warrior who could instantly kill a martial saint and possessed a powerful treasure. All of this was enough to prove Longao's talent and potential. It was such a pity for Longao. Dugubai and Xia Jun stared at Longao. Their faces were filled with regret and helplessness. As friends, they could only watch and not do anything. They felt guilty towards their friends. Brother Dugu, are we just going to watch Brother Long get killed? What else can we do? Dugubai's words were filled with helplessness. After all, the opponent was an earthly venerable. Moreover, Longao had already become a tool of slaughter. Dugubai clearly knew that even if Longao wasn't killed by Guanhang now, he would be killed by the 6 major sections. Longao was too reckless. If he had stopped earlier, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Xiao Jun, let's go. Brother Dugu. Dugubai waved his hand. He also didn't want to give up on Longao. However, under these circumstances, even if he didn't want to give up, what else could he do? In the end, Dugubai and Xia Jun chose to leave. In the field, the 2 sides were already engaged in a fierce battle. It had to be said that the combination of dragon and tiger instantly increased their power. However, they were still no match for an earthly venerable. They were forced back step by step. Longao's eyes were red. He wore black clothes, had white hair, and 2 white eyebrows. His entire body was covered in blood. He looked like the god of slaughter. Longao, go to hell! Seeing Guanhang attacking Longao with all his might, Long Ming and Long Chang blocked in front of Longao. After being attacked by Guanhang, the 2 spiritual beasts spat out blood and turned into 2 rays of light, entering Longao's arms. Guanhang didn't expect that he would injure the giant dragon. However, at least the giant dragon didn't die. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble. Although he didn't put the Scarlet Fire Town's Long family in his eyes, the Long family was different. The strength of the Long family wasn't something the Blood Sea sect could compare to. Even if all the sects in the 9 provinces were combined, they still wouldn't be a match for the Long family. However, since things had already reached this stage, Guanhang naturally wouldn't let Longao go so easily. Therefore, each of his attacks was more vicious than the last. He heavily injured Longao, making him look like neither a human nor a ghost. Go to hell! At this moment, Guanhang suddenly roared. He gathered all the energy in his body and attacked Longao with all his might. Longao, who was already in a half-dead state, was hit hard and fell into the blood pool. He created a ripple and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 308. Blood Sea Sect. The boundless Blood Sea was known as the Blood Sea sect's most sacred place for cultivation. Normal disciples were not allowed to enter. However, no one knew that the boundless Blood Sea sect was listed as a forbidden area because no matter who it was, they could not stay in the boundless Blood Sea for too long. Otherwise, they would be corroded by the blood pool. The blood pool in the boundless Blood Sea was the most mysterious place in the Blood Sea sect. No matter who it was, as long as they fell in, they would die without a doubt. Even their bones would not be found. Longao caused a ruckus in the Blood Sea sect. He killed 10 honorables and 3 sovereigns in the boundless Blood Sea. In the blink of an eye, he had shaken the entire Tianzhou, and even the 9 states. Those who received the news all raised their thumbs in admiration of Longao. After all, the Blood Sea sect was the leader of the 6 sects, and their strength was comparable to the Ghost King sect. Ignoring Longao's strength, his courage alone was enough to look down on his peers in the 9 states. To be able to kill 3 sovereigns and 10 honorables in an instant, Longao instantly became the idol of all young people. He also naturally became the number 1 on the 9 states ranking. Regarding this point, the thousands of people on the 9 leaderboards did not have the slightest objection. This was because even if it was Long Patian, Dudubai, and the other first rankers on the leaderboards, would they be able to do what Longao had done? However, in the end, Longao still fell. The 6X spread the news that after Longao killed 10 honorables and 3 sovereigns, he did not stop there. Instead, he began to slaughter the entire Blood Sea sect. In the end, he even began to slaughter the disciples of the 5 sects. In the end, Longao was devoured by the slaughter and became a tool of slaughter. Not only that, the Ghost King sect's ancestor chose to give up. In the end, the Blood Sea sect's ancestor, an earthly honorable, personally killed Longao. Even so, Longao still shook the entire 9 states. After this battle, the Blood Sea sect was greatly weakened. All of their experts were killed, leaving only 1 earthly honorable. However, the Blood Sea sect still lost the right to fight for the Tianzhou. Of the 6 major sects, the Blood Sea sect had already chosen to withdraw. The other 4 major sects naturally did not dare to compete with the Ghost King sect. However, the Ghost King sect had an earthly venerable rank martial artist holding the fort. They could easily wipe out the 4 major sects. Only those who were blind would fall out with the Ghost King sect. Longao's ruckus at the Blood River sect not only affected himself, but also affected the entire structure of the Sky region. In a short span of 3 days, the Ghost King sect had become the number 1 sect in Tianzhou. Furthermore, the 6 major sects had formed an alliance. Ghost King Nao Tian had become the first leader of the alliance. In a short span of time, the Ghost King's sect had soared into the sky. Everyone felt that Longao's death was a great pity. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. A month had already passed, but the most discussed topic in the 9 prefectures was still Longao causing havoc in the Blood Sea sect and slaughtering the disciples of the 6 major sects. A super genius of a generation had fallen just like that. It was unknown if the heavens were jealous of Longao. Tianzhou, halfway up an extremely secluded mountain. In a month's time, this originally abandoned mountain range had been opened up. Nearly a few thousand people from the Long and Wang families had all hidden here in fear of the Blood River sect's revenge. According to Longhaosher's plan, as long as the family was fine, his grandson could sit back and relax. He could do whatever he wanted without any scruples. However, what was the result? When the Long family heard about Longao causing havoc in the Blood Sea sect, everyone went completely crazy. They were all furious and prepared to seek revenge from the Blood Sea sect. However, they were all stopped by Longhaosher. Longhaosher's intention was simple. His grandson wanted to avenge the family. If the family rashly sought revenge from the Blood Sea sect and something happened, his grandson would not be able to rest in peace even if he knew about it in the underworld. Longao's peak. Longao was the most dazzling genius of the Long family, so Longhaosher named this peak as Longao's peak. With the fire Qilin guarding it, he believed that he would not have to worry even if the Blood Sea sect came. At the peak of the peak, the cold wind blew on Longhaosher and Wang Yidao's cheeks. The 2 old men seemed to have aged a lot at this moment. They seemed to have experienced a lot of vicissitudes of life because the most dazzling genius of the Long family, Longao, had fallen in just 1 month. Longhaosher felt deeply guilty. If he had spread the news earlier, as long as his grandson knew that the family was fine, he believed that his grandson would not have caused havoc in the Blood Sea sect and would not have fallen. Deeply sighing, Wang Yidao said, "Brother Long, the news from the 5 great sects only said that Aoor fell into the blood pool of the boundless Blood Sea and did not really fall. Maybe a miracle will happen." "Miracle?" Smiling bitterly, Longhaosher said sadly. "As everyone knows, the Blood Sea sect's boundless Blood Sea is very dangerous, especially the blood pool. Anyone who enters will die without exception. Not to mention, according to the legends, Aoor had caused havoc in the Blood Sea sect and slaughtered the 5 great sections. His mind had been devoured by the slaughter and became a tool of slaughter. Brother Wang, you should know better than me what would happen if he fell into the blood pool. Deeply sighing again, Wan Yidao originally wanted to persuade Longao, but the truth was in front of his eyes, so he did not know what to say. Although I regret it, I am very proud. Proud? Wan Yidao obviously knew what Longao meant by proud. After all, no matter who it was, they would feel proud to have such a grandson. Yes, Aoer broke into the Blood Sea sect alone, killed 10 venerables and 3 supremes, and even fought with an earthly venerable. Although he lost, it was still a glorious defeat. Now, in the 9 continents there is no one who does not know Aoer. Ha ha ha, how could my grandson be weak? Brother Wang, you're right. As long as Aoer doesn't show up, it doesn't mean that Aoer is dead, so I will wait. I firmly believe that Aoer will come back alive. Nodding his head, Wan Yidao said confidently, Aoer has always brought us surprises. This time will be no exception. Seeming to have thought of something, Wan Yidao said in a serious voice, Brother Long, although the Blood Sea sect was heavily damaged by Aoer, their strength is still there. Therefore, we must not leak the news that we are here. Otherwise, the Blood Sea sect will not let us go. At that time, we will be in big trouble. Yes, you are right. We must not leak the news that we are here. Longao knew very well that although the Fire Qilin was guarding the Longao peak, no one knew when the Fire Qilin would suddenly leave. Last time, if the Fire Qilin did not suddenly leave, things would not have ended up like this. The Long family left the Red Fire town, and Aoer caused havoc in the Blood Sea sect. Because of this, Longao and Wan Yidao decided not to leak the news. Even if they did not consider themselves, they had to consider the whole family. Chapter 309. Blood Sea Sect. The boundless Blood Sea, beside the blood pool. Guan Heng stared at the blood pool in front of him. He hadn't moved for 3 whole months. The anger in Guan Heng's heart made him unable to react. After all, Blood Sea sect could be the overlord of Tianzhou, but in the end? It was because of the sudden appearance of a single person that the Blood Sea sect's strength had been greatly damaged. A total of 10 venerables and 3 sovereigns had all been slaughtered. In fact, nearly 95% of the sect's over 10,000 disciples had been slaughtered. With Blood Sea sect's current strength, not to mention the overlord of Tianzhou, they might not even be able to keep their previous position. Ghost King's sect had already become the overlord of Tianzhou. Guan Heng thought that once Blood Sea sect withdrew from the competition, Ghost King's sect would let Blood Sea sect go. But in the end, after the Ghost King's sect became the overlord of the Tianzhou, they immediately turned around and began to attack the Blood Sea sect. In a short span of a month, all the remaining disciples of the Blood Sea sect were killed, leaving only him. Longao, Shechong, I will remember the kindness you have shown me. I will definitely repay you twice as much. Longao had already fallen into the blood pool and was 100% dead. But Guan Heng was not satisfied. Even if Longao was dead, Longao's lover, Aoshue, was still alive. Ghost King's sect was his biggest enemy. Guan Heng had decided that no matter what happened, he would destroy Ghost King's sect, including Aoshue. Brother Guan, I haven't seen you in a month. How are you? Without even turning around, Guan Heng could already guess who it was. Because this voice was something he would never forget in his life. Shechong, Blood Sea sect has already withdrawn from the Tianzhou competition, but you are forcing us. I want to tell you, don't go overboard. Otherwise, you will receive retribution. Ha! Laughing loudly, Shechong did not put Guan Heng in his eyes at all. He sneered and said, You and I know very well that although the Blood Sea sect only exists in name, as long as you are alive, you will always be a threat to my Ghost King sect. Shechong didn't continue, but the meaning in his words was clear. Guan Heng's face was ugly and gloomy to the extreme. He suddenly laughed and asked, Are you really so confident that you can kill me? Without waiting for Shechong to speak, Guan Heng continued, I've just decided that from now on, I'll try my best to assassinate the disciples of the Ghost King sect. I want to ask, with our strength, how many people in the Ghost King sect can withstand us? He wasn't angry at all, as if Ao Shichong had already guessed it. Guan Hang, since things have come to this point, why don't we be frank? You no longer have the chance to assassinate my Ghost King sect's disciple. This time, I'm here to kill you. I have full confidence that I can kill you. Guan Hang's expression was very ugly. The more confident Ao Shichong appeared, the more uncertain Guan Hang felt. Did Ao Shichong really have the confidence to kill him? Are you scared? I'm scared? Ha ha ha, you think you can kill me? Ao Shichong didn't talk nonsense and took out an item from his chest. Seeing this item, Guan Hang's face suddenly changed and he exclaimed, Imperial City Token. What did the Imperial City Token represent? Once it was issued, everyone had to obey it, or they would die without a burial place. Guan Hang never thought that Ao Shichong would have the Imperial City Token. Ao Shichong, so you're from the Imperial City? Yes, I'm from the Imperial City, Guan Hang. You should know about the Imperial City and the Imperial City Token. I'm holding the Imperial City Token in my hand. Anyone who dares to violate the Imperial City Token will be killed. What do you want? Guan Hang, I'm officially informing you to kill yourself here. Looking at the Imperial City Token in Ao Shichong's hand, Guan Hang's face was extremely gloomy. However, Guan Hang suddenly laughed and said, Ao Shichong, if it was me in the past, maybe I wouldn't violate the Imperial City Token. But now, the Blood Sea sect exists in name only, and I'm all alone. Do you think I'm still afraid of you? Guan Hang, you dared to violate the Imperial City Token? Hearing the voice, Guan Hang seemed to have thought of something and exclaimed, Law Enforcement Celestial Venerable? Ha ha ha, so you know about the Law Enforcement Celestial Venerable. At this time, a big man came from not far away. He was tall and sturdy, and looked very handsome. However, there was a trace of arrogance and coldness on his face. Feeling the aura emitted from his body, Guan Hang could already confirm that he was the Law Enforcement Celestial Venerable of the Imperial City. Guan Hang never thought that he would attract the attention of the Law Enforcement Celestial Venerable of the Imperial City. It seemed that the relationship between the Ghost King sect and the Imperial City was not simple. For so many years, the Ghost King sect had been hiding it. Guan Hang, you violated the Imperial City Token. That's a capital offense. Do you plead guilty? Law Enforcement Celestial Venerable, I want to ask, what crime have I committed that the Imperial City wants to kill me? Guan Hang was not convinced. No matter what, he was the only one left in the Blood Sea sect. As the saying goes, a man can eat his fill and the whole family won't starve. He was afraid that the Imperial City would kill him. Anyway, things had already reached this point. Huafen, one of the Law Enforcement Celestial Venerables of the Imperial City. Just from the name alone, it was clear that Huafen was a powerful Celestial Venerable. If not, how could Guan Hang panic? Guan Hang, your Blood Sea sect provoked Longao for no reason and provoked endless slaughter. Just based on this point alone, the Imperial City wants to kill you. Ha ha ha, if you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. I originally thought that the Imperial City was a fair place, but I never thought that the Imperial City would also be a place that protects its own. Since the Imperial City has determined that the Blood Sea sect is guilty, then it's useless for me to say more. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Hearing Huafen's reason, as long as Guan Hang was not a fool, he could tell that the Imperial City was deliberately targeting the Blood Sea sect. The reason was very simple. It was because of the Ghost King sect. If it was only the Ghost King sect, Guan Hang could still be lucky enough to assassinate them. However, the Imperial City was not something the Ghost King sect could compare to. Especially when the Imperial City had used the Imperial City Token and sent out the Law Enforcement Celestial Venerable. Guan Hang had already given up resisting. Since he was destined to die, what was the point of resisting? Huofeng glanced at Ao Shichong beside him and said coldly, "From now on, the Blood Sea sect will be removed from Tianzhou and replaced by the Ghost King sect." Hearing this, Ao Shichong's heart was immediately filled with joy. He said, "Thank you, Celestial Venerable, for granting my wish. All right, let's settle this quickly. I still have things to do. Remember, from now on, the Ghost King sect is the representative of the Imperial City in Tianzhou. If you have any problems, you can come to me directly. If you don't agree, you will be killed without mercy." Ao Shichong was extremely excited. He certainly knew what it meant for the Ghost King sect to be the representative of the Imperial City. Chapter 310. Now that the Imperial City had intervened and sent out a law enforcer, Guanheng no longer had any chance. Guanheng's death meant that the Blood Sea sect was completely destroyed. From now on, the Ghost King sect became the absolute overlord of Tianzhou. The news of Guanheng being killed by the law enforcer of the Imperial City spread across Tianzhou, and even the entire 9 states. Hearing about the Imperial City, everyone was shocked. They didn't know why the Imperial City Order, which hadn't appeared for a few years, suddenly appeared. Then, the news of the Ghost King sect representing the Imperial City to rule Tianzhou also spread. Originally, many sects and families in the 8 states were not convinced and wanted to enter Tianzhou and rule Tianzhou with the Ghost King sect. But when they heard that the Ghost King sect was the representative of the Imperial City, all sects and families stopped. The Imperial City was a super-existence above the 9 states. No one would have thought that the Ghost King sect was a subsidiary sect of the Imperial City. No wonder the Ghost King sect could summon the Imperial City Order and kill Guanheng with the help of the law enforcer. Thunder Sect Back Mountain. Brother Dugu, have you heard the news? The Imperial City Order suddenly appeared and Guanheng was killed by the law enforcer. Nodding, Dugubai said, "How could I not know about such a big thing? It's unbelievable. The Imperial City is supporting the Ghost King sect to rule Tianzhou. It seems like the other sects have no chance." This time, the law enforcer killed Guanheng and officially announced that the Blood Sea sect will be removed from Tianzhou. That's to be expected. Among the 4 overlords of the 9 states, the Imperial City is the strongest. The Imperial City Medallion is everyone's nightmare. Anyone who obtains the Imperial City Medallion would tremble in fear. However, it has been a long time since the Imperial City Medallion appeared. The 4 overlords of the 9 states are the East Royal City, the West Dragon Clan, the South Underworld Mansion, and the North Ethereal Palace. Sighing deeply, Dugubai continued, "The 4 overlords usually don't appear. But every time they appear, they cause chaos in the 9 states. The East Royal City, the West Dragon Clan, the South Underworld Mansion, and the North Ethereal Palace. The 4 overlords of the 9 states were the East Royal City, the West Dragon Clan, the South Underworld Mansion, and the North Ethereal Palace. The 4 overlords haven't appeared for many years. In the eyes of the world, the 4 overlords were very mysterious. Every time they appeared, the 9 states would fall into chaos. On top of that, the Imperial City was supporting the Ghost King House to take over Tianzhou. Their intentions were obvious. Could it be that the Imperial City wanted to take over all 9 continents? Big Brother Dugu, the 4 overlords suffered great losses in the battle back then. Could it be that they want to do it all over again? The Xia army vaguely remembered the battle between the 4 overlords. It was world-shaking and caused countless casualties in the 9 prefectures. Corpses were strewn everywhere and blood flowed like rivers. In the end, none of the 4 overlords succeeded in dominating the 9 prefectures. Instead, they were all defeated and injured. Originally, the Great Xia army thought that it would take at least 100 years for the 4 overlords to recover. However, the Great Xia army never expected that the Imperial City would be able to make a comeback in just a short dozen years. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. I'm a little tired. Letting out a deep sigh, Xia Jun knew what Brother Dugu was upset about. Brother Long's death seemed to be a huge blow to Dugubai, since Longao's talent and potential were just too shocking. Blood Sea Sect. Boundless Blood Sea, inside the blood pool. Longao was thrown into the blood pool by Guanhang, but he was considered to have escaped death. That was because Longao had killed too many people, and his mind was devoured by the killing. If nothing went wrong, he would definitely become a killing tool. Even Long Fu could not do anything about it. However, Longao was thrown into the blood pool, causing the blood water in the blood pool to crazily rush into Longao's body. It forcibly refined the killing in Longao's body and turned it into a bloody force. Ordinary people would be devoured by the blood water if they entered the blood pool. However, Longao's situation was different. The sacred body of desolation was the #1 physique in the world, and the power it required was terrifying. Longao first forcefully became a venerable, and then he became a supreme with the help of the 9 needles investiture. Under the double promotion, the backlash was even more terrifying. However, it was all fate. After entering the blood pool, the backlash force was completely devoured by the blood water and also turned into power that entered Longao's body. The sacred body of desolation. Longao and Long Chang both belonged to the sacred body of desolation, and Long Ming was the emperor of the 9 Abyss Earthly Tiger clan. The 3 of them lay quietly at the bottom of the blood pool, absorbing the blood water around them and devouring it crazily. Long Chang and Longao were seriously injured and unconscious. The huge bodies of the dragon and tiger did not absorb the power of the blood water as crazily as Longao. Longao was like a tornado, and the blood water around him continuously entered his body. Then, it was refined by the sacred body of desolation. The essence was left behind, and the impurities were expelled. Inside the dragon's seal space, Long Fu let out a long sigh of relief and said to himself, "Master is really lucky. If he can absorb the blood water here, it won't be a problem to achieve the desolate tyrant body." The desolate tyrant body was the #1 tyrant body since ancient times. No one had been able to successfully cultivate it. Long Fu was looking forward to seeing how strong his master would be if he could condense the desolate tyrant body. Because of this, Long Fu began to activate the dragon seal space to help the man, dragon, and tiger crazily absorb the blood water around them. According to the ratio of 2 to 2 to 6, most of it was devoured by Longao. After absorbing for an unknown period of time, Longao frowned and let out a cry of pain. At this time, the entire blood pool had turned from blood red to light blue. It was so clear that the bottom could be seen clearly. The bodies of Longao, Long Chang, and Long Ming could be clearly seen. At this moment, the Blood Sea sect had become a branch of the Ghost King sect and was occupied by thousands of Ghost King sect disciples. The Boundless Blood Sea was still listed as a forbidden area by the Ghost King sect. No matter who it was, no one could easily step into it. However, the disciples of the Ghost King sect could enter and cultivate. Each time they entered, they could only enter for a maximum of 2 hours. Those who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. At this time, in the Boundless Blood Sea martial arts field, there were hundreds of disciples sitting on the ground and cultivating quietly. However, for some unknown reason, as time slowly passed, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth in the Boundless Blood Sea had become much fainter. It was even worse than the outside world. Not only that, the blood water in the blood pool became lighter day by day. In 3 months, the blood water in the blood pool had completely faded and was so clear that the bottom could be seen. Because of this, a cry of surprise rang out, causing everyone to look at the blood pool. "Look, what's that?" Looking over at the bottom of the blood pool, there was a man, a dragon, and a tiger lying there. The 3 of them had stopped absorbing the blood water around them. After 3 months of absorbing and refining, Longao and Long Chan had achieved the tyrant body of desolation, while Long Ming had condensed the tyrant body of 9 nether. "It's Longao, it's Longao, it's really Longao. My God, he's not dead," someone shouted. Then, the Boundless Blood Sea went completely berserk. Everyone screamed crazily as if they had seen the most terrifying thing in the world. P.S. Chapter 9 is complete. Chapter 10 will be uploaded at 1 o'clock in the morning. Xiaojiu has something to do today, so I'm late. Please forgive me. Chapter 3:11. The Roars of Dragons and Tigers. Before the crowd could figure out what was going on, a figure rushed out of the blood pool with the roars of dragons and tigers. Then, a black dragon and a black tiger came out separately. One man, one dragon, and one tiger stopped at the training ground and looked around coldly. Longao's cold voice rang out. All of you get out! Everyone swallowed their saliva fiercely. No one dared to stay any longer. All of them left the martial arts field. However, no one left. One by one, they stood around the blood pool. They wanted to see what Longao wanted to do. At this moment, the clear sky was suddenly covered by dark clouds and thunder rumbled. In less than a minute, large patches of dark purple clouds had gathered above the boundless blood sea. 100 tribulations? Looking at the dark clouds above their heads, everyone was shocked. Other than being shocked, they were even more puzzled. Wasn't Longao a venerable one? In the Void 8 state, one could only become a martial saint after passing through the 100 tribulations and cleansing one's body and turning the spirit energy in one's body into spiritual energy. A martial saint needed to pass through the 100 tribulations? Longao, Longchang, and Longming didn't care about the strange gazes of the people around them. Longao, Longchang, and Longming went through the 100 tribulations together. This kind of 100 tribulations was incomparably powerful. The three of us will go through the 100 tribulations together. I'd like to see how strong the 100 tribulations are. Longchang and Longming nodded their heads. Their faces were relaxed, and they were not afraid of the 100 tribulations at all. Boom, boom, boom. Thunder rumbled and rumbled in the sky. Feeling the power of the tribulations, everyone retreated far away from the blood pool, afraid that they would be affected. Crack. Crack, crack, crack. The meaning of the 100 tribulations was simple. 100 tribulations would strike down one after another without any gap in between. One could imagine how strong the 100 tribulations were. Longao, Longming, and Longchang were not afraid at all. Without waiting for the 100 tribulations to strike, the three of them had already rushed up. Did the three of them want to die? Seeing Longao and the other two taking the initiative to attack Bai Jie, everyone was shocked. They swallowed their saliva hard, as if they were looking at an idiot. The tyrant body of desolation, the tyrant body of desolation, and the 9 nether tyrant body were extremely powerful. It was precisely because he had achieved the tyrant body that Longao was prepared to use the desolate tyrant body to resist the 100 tribulations. According to Long Fu, as long as the three of them could resist the power of the 100 tribulations, he believed that it would be very helpful to his desolate tyrant body. Of course, Longao wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. With the help of the overlord body of desolation, he chose to take on the disaster head-on. Just like that, the power of the thunder calamity struck Longao and the other two people one after another. Each thunderbolt was stronger than the previous one. It was as if the speed was too fast. In the blink of an eye, the power of 50 thunderbolts had been struck. Is Longao out of his mind? I'm already used to it. 3 months ago, Longao broke into the Blood Sea sect alone and killed 10 honorables and 3 supremes. If he could do such a thing, how could he resist the lightning tribulation head-on? As long as everyone thought of what Longao had done 3 months ago, they would feel a deep sense of powerlessness. This was because the matter of Longao's slaughtering the Blood Sea sect could be said to be unprecedented and would never happen again. Because of this, when Longao resisted the 100 tribulations head-on, many people didn't choose to ridicule or despise him. Instead, they chose to look forward to it. They wanted to see if Longao could resist the power of the 100 tribulations head-on. So what if it's the power of the 100 tribulations? I'll let you see my desolate tyrant body. Before the crowd could react, the dragon and tiger roared again. Then, Long Chang and Long Ming turned into two rays of light and entered Long Ao's left and right arms. The Divine Dragon arm and Hell Tiger arm were completed in an instant. What's Long Ao trying to do? Everyone was curious. They didn't know what Long Ao was trying to do. Is he trying to fight with the 100 tribulations? Under everyone's curiosity and anticipation, Long Ao's body moved. Both of his fists smashed out fiercely. His whole body emitted a domineering air shield. This was the terrifying part of the desolate tyrant body. The desolate physique was the #1 physique since ancient times. Under Long Ao's luck, he condensed the unprecedented desolate tyrant body, which was extremely powerful. Long Ao had a feeling that his desolate tyrant body could resist the power of the 100 tribulations head-on. The desolate tyrant body combined with the Divine Dragon arm and Hell Tiger arm's power was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Both of his fists smashed the 100 tribulations fiercely. The desolate tyrant body resisted the power of the 100 tribulations head-on. This battle was earth-shattering. Everyone was dumbfounded as they watched the battle between the 100 tribulations. Although Long Ao had slaughtered the people of the 5 biggest sects, the disciples of the 5 biggest sects didn't have the slightest resentment. Instead, they admired Long Ao, who had succeeded in turning the tide. This was how people's minds worked. Especially losers. Long Ao's background had been dug out. 10 years ago, Long Ao was the #1 genius of the Red Fire town. However, in just one day, he had fallen from a super genius to the #1 trash. He had been treated coldly and ridiculed for 10 whole years. However, Long Ao still persevered. He persevered for an entire 10 years. Just this point alone, who could do it? Long Ao not only did what others couldn't do, but he also reaped the rewards. For some unknown reason, Long Ao suddenly rose and soared to the sky at the fastest speed. In just a few months, he had successfully entered the 100 battle ranking and the Fengyun ranking. He had turned the tide and become a man above all. They couldn't help but admire Long Ao's perseverance. However, everyone admired Long Ao's courage even more. He founded the Ghost King sect alone, fought the world for his beloved, and finally won her back. After a few months, Long Ao once again broke into the Blood Sea sect alone. Not only did he kill 10 venerables, but he also killed 3 supreme venerables. He also slaughtered the Blood Sea sect, including the 5 biggest sections. In the end, if it wasn't for the earthly venerable, Long Ao could have escaped unscathed. With such a counterattack, Long Ao had become the idol of the young people of the 9 states. Because of this, everyone didn't leave the boundless Blood Sea. Instead, more and more people gathered. They wanted to see how Long Ao could resist the power of the 100 tribulations. However, to everyone's surprise, Long Ao actually took the initiative to attack the 100 tribulations. It seemed that he didn't put the 100 tribulations in his eyes. A powerful person was a powerful person. He was always so domineering. In everyone's heart, they were looking forward to Long Ao surviving the 100 tribulations and becoming the venerable of nothingness. This was the reality. If one wanted to live well in this man-eat-man world and be respected by everyone, then there was only one way, and that was to constantly become stronger. In the blink of an eye, the 100 tribulations had already struck down 60 thunder tribulations. It only took a few seconds. One could imagine how fast the 100 tribulations were. It only took a blink of an eye. P.S. Chapter 10 has been delivered. Looking at the watch, it's 1:30. Hurry up and go to sleep. Brothers, can you tip me and vote for me to support Little Nine? Chapter 312. He simply ignored the power of the 100 tribulations. Long Ao used the desolate tyrant body, the divine dragon arm, and the underworld tiger arm to directly collide with the 100 tribulations. This time, the speed of the 100 tribulations was obviously faster. In 1 second, the remaining 40 lightning tribulations were all superimposed. Long Ao spat out blood, but in the end, he still withstood it. Break for me! With a loud roar, Longao's entire body rushed into the 100 tribulations. With just one move, he smashed the 100 tribulations away. The dark clouds began to disperse, and in the blink of an eye, the sky was clear. Successfully past the tribulation? Everyone stared blankly at the scene that just happened. It was simply too shocking. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, no one would believe that in this world, there was actually someone who could break through the 100 tribulations with one punch. Longao stood back in the martial arts field. Long Chang and Long Ming had already entered the Dragon Seal space to refine the power of the 100 tribulations and completely transform the spiritual energy in their bodies into spiritual energy. This time, successfully passing the 100 tribulations, Longao was also overjoyed. The true venerable realm. Longao was very clear in his heart that it was all thanks to the mysterious blood water in the blood pool that he was able to survive this calamity. Otherwise, the current him would already be deader than dead. 3 months ago, his cultivation was forcefully broken through to the venerable realm by the fire Qilin, so he couldn't feel the true power of the venerable realm. But now, the situation was different. He had successfully passed the 100 tribulations and had become a void 100 tribulations warrior. As long as he borrowed the power of the 100 tribulations to transform all the spiritual energy in his body into spiritual energy, then it meant that he had officially stepped into the void venerable realm. After slaughtering the Blood Sea sect, not only did he get his revenge, his cultivation had also broken through to the void 100 tribulations realm. He didn't know if there was a blessing after surviving a disaster. Deep breaths. At this time, Longao looked around coldly and said, "Today's matter, I don't need to exaggerate. Senior Longao." Waving his hand, Longao was very depressed. He wasn't old, so how could he call him Senior Longao? "You don't have to call me Senior." Longao didn't want to waste any more words. He turned around and left quickly. Longao's hair and eyebrows had turned from white to blood red. Perhaps it was because he had swallowed the blood, but in these 3 months, his appearance had changed completely. Dressed in black, with long blood-red hair and 2 blood-red eyebrows, Longao looked especially mysterious and powerful at this moment. In the blink of an eye, the news that Longao was not dead and had successfully passed the 100 tribulations had spread throughout the 9 states. Hearing this news, everyone thought that it was a rumor, but after it was confirmed by the Ghost King sect, everyone turned around. Longao didn't die? Furthermore, he had successfully passed through the 100 calamities and attained the position of void calamity? Everyone found it hard to believe. After all, everyone clearly knew what the blood pool of the Blood Sea sect meant. It was precisely because of this that everyone sighed. Longao actually didn't die. Instead, he had truly achieved the Nihility 100 Calamity realm. Without a doubt, with Longao's talent, he would be able to officially become a Nihility Venerable in less than a month. Longao had caused a ruckus in the Blood Sea sect. In the end, Longao himself was fine, but the entire Blood Sea sect was massacred and destroyed. Sound of Thunder sect, Back Mountain. Seeing Longao suddenly appear, whether it was Dugabai or Xia Jun, it was as if they had seen a ghost. They immediately dismissed everyone. Xia Jun still didn't dare to be sure. He said, "There was a rumor before that you didn't die and had successfully passed through the 100 calamities. I didn't believe it, but I didn't think that you really didn't die. This is great." Longao smiled. He had treated the two of them as true friends. "It's great to see you." The 3 of them fiercely hugged each other. Dugabai said apologetically, "Brother Long, we've let you down for not going through life and death with you. In the end, we're just afraid of death." Hearing Dugabai's words, Xia Jun's face revealed a trace of shame. Because as Dugabai had said, any reason was fake. In the end, the 2 of them were just afraid of death. Longao smiled and didn't care. "Brother Dugu, Brother Xia, friends are valued in their hearts. It's not about blindly throwing your lives away. Are you saying that if you die for me, you're friends? If you don't die for me, you're not friends? This matter is already in the past. No one is allowed to mention it again." Looking at the young man in front of them, the two of them nodded. Brother Long, your hair and eyebrows? Longao had of course seen his hair and eyebrows. They were too domineering. To be honest, he liked the color of his hair. It was much better than his white hair. I don't know. Helplessly shrugging, Longao continued. When I was thrown into the blood pool by Guanhang, I felt my soul leaving my body. After that, I didn't know anything else. Just like that, I stayed in the blood pool for 3 months and absorbed all the blood water in the pool. At that time, I felt the power of disaster. Longao narrated everything that had happened to him in full detail. He did not exaggerate, nor did he conceal anything. However, when Dugubai and Xia Jun heard his narration, they were shocked to the core. Breaking through the power of disaster with one punch. Just this point alone was something that the two of them couldn't do. It was too powerful. Xia Jun fiercely swallowed his saliva and asked, Brother Long, your cultivation has reached the level of Venerable Void? Nodding, Longao smiled and said, These few days, I've been refining my body. The heavens don't disappoint those who work hard. Just yesterday, all the spiritual energy in my body turned into spiritual energy. Success. Brother Dugu, if I'm not wrong, you should have just passed through the disaster and haven't reached the level of Venerable yet. Nodding, Dugubai said proudly, Brother Long, I won't hide it from you. The reason why I was able to break through so quickly is because of you. Thank me? Longao was very curious. He stayed in the blood pool for 3 months and didn't see Dugubai. Why would he thank him? Ha ha ha, 3 months ago, you fought against 10 venerables and killed 3 supremes. You were too arrogant. Maybe I learned something from watching the battle, so not long after I came back, I successfully attracted the disaster. With a deep sigh, Dugubai continued, I'm not a freak like you who can break through the disaster with one punch. I borrowed the power of the sect to barely pass through the disaster. And according to my calculations, I still need a month to convert all the spiritual energy in my body into spiritual energy and reach the level of Venerable. So that's it. Brother Xia, what about you? Brother Long, I also watched your battle and was inspired. Because of that, my cultivation broke through the Tao Ancestor Realm and reached the peak of the Tao Ancestor Realm. I believe that it won't be long before I can also sense my disaster. Hearing that Xia Jun had also reached this level, Longao was very happy. It seemed that he had done a good thing. At least he had helped his 2 friends learn something and improve their strength quickly. Chapter 313. After chatting for a while, Longao thought for a while and asked, Brother Dugu, I received news that Guanhang was mentioned by the law enforcement Heavenly Sovereign. What is going on? A Heavenly Sovereign was a super-existence above an earthly sovereign. Longao originally wanted to take revenge, but he did not expect that Guanhang had been killed by the law enforcement Heavenly Sovereign. Until now, Longao still did not know what this law enforcement Heavenly Sovereign was or where he came from. Dugubai had already guessed that Longao would ask about this, so he was not surprised at all. Brother Long, do you know about the 4 great overlords of the 9 states? I don't know. The 4 great overlords of the 9 states are the East Royal City, the West 3rd Grade Long Family, the South Netherworld Mansion, and the North Ethereal Palace. 3rd Grade Long Family? Longao was surprised to hear that there were 4 more great overlords in the 9 states. Moreover, there was the 3rd Grade Long Family among the 4 great overlords. Others might not know what the 3rd Grade Long Family meant, but how could Longao not know? The Long family had countless branches and was divided into 9 levels. They were the 9th Grade Long Family, 8th Grade Long Family, 7th Grade Long Family, 6th Grade Long Family, 5th Grade Long Family, 4th Grade Long Family, 3rd Grade Long Family, 2nd Grade Long Family, and 1st Grade Long Family. Longao knew very well that the Long family below the 4th grade could not be considered a real Long family. It was just a name. As everyone knew, the Long family was most famous for being a dragon warrior. Would there be a dragon warrior among the 4th grade Long family and below? Long family had a rule that only the 3rd grade Long family and above could send disciples into the Dragon Valley to obtain a dragon partner and become a dragon warrior. Once a 4th grade Long family member became a dragon warrior, not only would they not be valued by the Long family, but they would also be destroyed. Brother Long, after the battle between the 4 overlords, the 4 families were greatly damaged. They haven't appeared for many years. Who would have thought that the battle between the Ghost King sect and the Blood Sea sect would draw out the Imperial City and send out a law enforcement Holy Lord? Nodding, Longao already knew what had happened. If one wanted to know how strong the 4 overlords were, they only needed to look at how the Imperial City could casually send out a heavenly venerable to know how strong the 4 overlords were. Big Brother Dugu, what's up with the Imperial City's law enforcement heavenly venerable? Smiling helplessly, Dugubai said. Back then, the 4 great overlords all wanted to dominate the 9 provinces. However, with the 4 great overlords, it was impossible for a true overlord to appear. That is precisely the reason why the 4 great overlords each created their own ghost sect. As for the Imperial City writ, it is the ghost sect created by the Imperial City. Anyone who sees the Imperial City writ must obey it. Otherwise, they will be killed without question. What a tyrannical rule! Longao didn't look down on the Imperial City because this was a world where the strong survived and the weak were on the right. Since the Imperial City could set its own rules, there was no doubt that the Imperial City had the capital to do so. If the Sound of Thunder sect were to create a ghost sect, would they have the strength to do so? In order to strengthen their position, the Imperial City not only created the Imperial City writ, but also created the Law Enforcement Heavenly Venerable. The Law Enforcement Heavenly Venerable is in charge of the Heavenly Venerable Army in the 9 provinces. I really didn't think that the Imperial City would suddenly appear and the Imperial City writ and Law Enforcement Heavenly Venerable would appear at the same time. Longao didn't care because whether the Imperial City appeared or not had nothing to do with him. Seeming to have thought of something, Longao asked, Big Brother Dugu, the Ghost King sect became a subsidiary sect of the Imperial City? Nodding, Dugubai also sighed and said, I'm afraid that no one would have thought that the Ghost King sect would be a subsidiary sect of the Imperial City. No wonder they were so arrogant. The destruction of the Blood Sea sect this time is a bit sad. His words made sense. Longao knew very well that with Guan Heng's strength, unless a heavenly venerable intervened, it would be very difficult for the Ghost King sect to kill Guan Heng and destroy the Blood Sea sect. Brother Long, the Ghost King sect now has the backing of the Imperial City. Not to mention dominating the Tianzhou, even dominating the 9 prefectures wouldn't be difficult. Nodding, Longao agreed with this point. Brother Long, previously when you caused a ruckus in the Blood Sea sect, a giant dragon appeared in the end. If I'm not wrong, you should be a dragon warrior, right? Since things had already come to this point, Longao didn't continue to hide it. Nodding, he said, Back then, I accidentally obtained this little fellow and became a dragon warrior. Dugubai's expression was extremely solemn as he said, Brother Long, do you know the rules of the Long family? Nodding, Longao naturally knew the rules of the Long family very well. Long family. Only the Long family of rank 3 and above had the qualifications to enter the Dragon Valley. Once the Long family of rank 4 and below had a disciple who became a dragon warrior, the Long family would severely punish them. Regarding this rule, Longao felt a headache. After all, the Dragon Valley was already occupied by the Long family. Then, the giant dragons outside the Dragon Valley couldn't benefit the lower Long family. However, Longao was even more clear that the Long family's strength was too strong. Just a rank 3 Long family was enough to dominate the 9 prefectures. It was hard to imagine how terrifying a rank 1 Long family would be. Dugubai didn't need to say anything. Longao already knew what Dugubai was worried about. When he caused a ruckus in the Blood Sea sect, Long Chang's identity had already been exposed. If nothing unexpected happened, the rank 3 Long family would definitely know that he was a dragon warrior. Not long after, trouble would come endlessly. Brother Long, I don't need to say anything more. How do you plan to deal with the rank 3 Long family? Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Dugubai and Xia Jun were already used to Longao's domineering and bravery. However, the two of them were still very worried. No matter what, the rank 3 Long family's strength was there for all to see. They were able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the imperial city. Brother Long, if you are willing, why don't you hide for the time being and wait for the limelight to blow over? How could Longao not know about the two's worries? He waved his hand and said, No need, I will handle this matter myself. Taking a deep look at Longao, Dugubai and Xia Jun deeply sighed. The two of them were very clear about Longao's character. Once he had decided on something, he wouldn't change it under normal circumstances. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't have barged into the Blood Sea sect alone and crazily fought the world. Dugubai seemed like he wanted to say something, but in the end, he endured it. At this time, Xia Fang appeared in front of the three. His expression was very grave as he said, Longao, quickly leave this place. Seeing Xia Fang, the three people's faces changed greatly. Without waiting for the three people to ask, Xia Fang already couldn't wait and said, Third rank Long family's people have come. They said they want to see Longao. P.S. My keyboard wasn't working this morning, so I used my phone to write a chapter. I'll have to buy one later. Sorry for the trouble. Don't worry, I'll try my best to write faster. Chapter 3:14. Level 3 Long family? Hearing Xia Fang's words, Longao and the other two were shocked. What they were afraid of really happened. Brother Long, quickly leave this place. Go as far as you can. Remember, don't act recklessly. Level 3 Longao is not someone the Blood River sect can compare to. Supremacy? Dugubai and Xia Jun knew very well that even if Longao's cultivation had broken through to supremacy, he was nothing in front of the level 3 Long family. Not to mention the entire Long family, even if the Long family sent a heavenly venerable, they could easily kill Longao. This was the strength of the level 3 Long family. Before Longao could get up and leave, a cold snort was heard. Then, a middle-aged man walked in. Coldly looking at the four, Fang Hong said, Xia Fang, you want to go against the Long family? Hearing this, Xia Fang's face instantly turned cold. He was extremely frightened. No matter what, the level 3 Long family was one of the 4 overlords of the 9 states. If they wanted to deal with the Sound of Thunder sect, the consequences would be unimaginable. This time, the Sound of Thunder sect was in big trouble because of Longao. This matter has nothing to do with the Sound of Thunder sect. If there's anything, find me. Eh? Fang Hong nodded with a smile and said, Xia Fang and the Sound of Thunder sect are loyal. My Long family will not touch them. You are Longao? Yes. Just as Longao finished speaking, a powerful aura exploded from Fang Hong's body and fiercely suppressed Longao. Gotcha, if he did not resist with all his strength, just the aura suppression alone would be enough to take Longao's life. Ha ha ha, not bad, not bad. The aura disappeared and Fang Hong suddenly laughed. At the same time, he said, Longao, you are only a disciple of the Red Fire Town's Long family, but you have a dragon companion. Now I will bring you back to the Long family. As expected. Longao was not surprised at all. He said calmly, Senior, I have a request. I wonder if you can agree to it? Go ahead. Fang Hong clearly had a good impression of Longao. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said so much nonsense. I still have a lot of important things to do. I hope that Senior can give me a month. After a month, I will wait for you here. All right, I'll give you 1 month. With that, Fang Hong stood up and left. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Fang Hong agreed? Looking at the gradually disappearing figure, everyone was a little dumbfounded. After all, The level 3 Long family was obviously here to capture Longao, but what was the result? Brother Long, this person seems to treat you well. Nodding his head, Longao shook his head and said, No matter what, I will not easily trust anyone. The rank 3 Long family will not let this matter rest. Brother Long, what do you plan to do? 2 hours later. Longao left the Sound of Thunder sect and went directly to the Ghost King sect to look for Aoshue. 3 months ago, he had caused a ruckus at the Blood Sea sect and almost lost his life. After surviving this disaster, Longao's state of mind seemed to have undergone a great change. After the news of Longao's rebirth spread throughout the 9 states, the number 1 spot on the Windcloud list fell back to Longao. Not only was he number 1 on the Tianzhou Windcloud list, but he was also number 1 on the 9 states Windcloud list. He was the number 1 person in the younger generation. Before Longao went to the Ghost King sect, he inadvertently received a piece of news. The Long family of Redfire Town was not destroyed because someone had seen the disciples of the Long family of Redfire Town. After receiving this news, Longao was extremely excited and happy. The battle 3 months ago was all for the sake of his family. Now that he received news that his family was fine, how could Longao not be happy? But in the vast Tianzhou, to find one's own clan was not an easy task. However, Longao did not choose to give up. He thought of countless ways and finally received news of his family. Longao's peak. Ever since Longao's death, the entire Long family seemed lifeless and even began to decline. This was the disadvantage of a person who was too strong. Once Longao fell, the Long family could not hold on, and did not even dare to show their faces. Just as Longao appeared in front of Longao's peak, he heard a cry of surprise. Longen's eyes were wide open as he stared at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him. He was dressed in black, had blood-red hair, and 2 blood-red eyebrows. Wasn't this 7th brother? Longen did not go to welcome Longao. Instead, he shouted at the top of his lungs. Not long after, the news of Longao's return had spread throughout the Long family. In just a few minutes, everyone in the Long family rushed out. When they saw Longao, Mulin fainted. After all, she had missed him for 3 months and could not hold on any longer. Ha ha, good. It's good that you're back. Long Haosher laughed. He looked a lot more relaxed. After all, his most outstanding grandson was not dead. Just this point alone was enough. Longao's sudden return caused everyone to be completely excited. Each and every one of them was in high spirits. The originally lifeless Long family instantly glowed with brilliance. Each and every one of them seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They couldn't wait to hug Longao and kiss him a few times. Everyone chatted for a while. Longao first accompanied his mother for a while before coming to the main hall. At this moment, the main hall of the Long family was already full. There were only 3 people in the main seats: Long Haosher, Wang Yidao, and Mu Wanfeng. Aoer, tell us. What happened 3 months ago? Everyone was somewhat impatient. No matter what, they had only heard about what happened 3 months ago. They did not see it with their own eyes. Longao did not hide anything about the battle in the Blood River sect. Because everyone in the main hall was the closest to him in this world. Then, Longao began to tell the story. It took him a whole 2 hours. After listening, everyone sighed. Wang Yidao said with emotion, I really did not expect Aoer to be able to kill 10 Venerables and 3 Supremes. I only used a secret technique to forcefully increase my strength. Otherwise, I would not have been able to do it, Longao said casually. But everyone knew how dangerous the battle 3 months ago was. Otherwise, Longao would not have been killed. In any case, Longao did not die. This was a great thing for the Long family. Grandfather, not long ago, the rank 3 law enforcement heavenly sovereign of the Long family looked for me. Rank 3 Long family? Hearing his grandson mention the rank 3 Long family, Long Haosher and the others were shocked. because everyone knew what the rank 3 Long family meant. Longao did not know why the rank 3 Long family suddenly looked for his grandson. Aor, why did the rank 3 Long family look for you? Because of the Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior? Others might not know about it, but Longao and the others knew it clearly. Chapter 315. Dragon Warrior. Longao already knew why the rank 3 Long family was looking for his grandson. If it was any other matter, it would be easy to deal with. But Longao knew that this matter was troublesome. Long family had a rule that no one below rank 4 was qualified to become a Dragon Warrior. Otherwise, they would be killed. For so many years, any Long family disciple below rank 4, even if they had the chance to become a Dragon Warrior, would choose to give up due to the suppression of the Long family. Longao was only a disciple of the Scarlet Fire Town Long family. He did not have the qualifications to enter the Dragon Valley, much less become a Dragon Warrior. Aor, how will you deal with this? Grandfather, I have already made an agreement with this law enforcement heavenly sovereign. 1 month later, I will follow him to the rank 3 Long family. No matter what, I have to face this matter. As if he had already guessed it, Longao sighed deeply. Aor, this matter is very troublesome. If you go to the rank 3 Long family, it will be difficult for you to return. Grandfather, I know what you are worried about. But I have to go to the rank 3 Long family. If I retreat, I believe that the rank 3 Long family will vent their anger on the family. I cannot implicate the family. Looking at his grandson, Longao suddenly realized that the family had become a burden to his grandson. Without the family, would Aor still need to go to the rank 3 Long family? With his grandson's current strength, if he deliberately hid, it would not be easy for the rank 3 Long family to find him in the vast continent. Before Longao said anything, Longao already understood his grandfather's meaning. Grandfather, I have already decided. No matter what happens, I will go to the rank 3 Long family. There was no way to avoid it. Longao was very clear that if the family wanted to become stronger, they must first gain the recognition of a high-rank family. If there was a chance, the family could enter the Dragon Valley and produce a few Dragon Warriors. The family's situation would completely change. Because of this, Longao decided that no matter what happened, he would go to the rank 3 Long family. Longao knew his grandson's character very well. There was no other way. The only thing he could do was to work hard to develop the family's strength and strive to not let the family continue to be a burden to Aor. Longao did not want to continue this topic and change the topic. Grandfather, how is the family now? Not bad. Having lived for so many years, Longao naturally understood that Longao did not want to dwell on this issue. Longao smiled and said, After 3 months of hard work, Longao Peak has begun to take shape, and with the help of your pills and spiritual balls, many disciples of the family have already broken through to the Xiantian realm. If this continues, I believe many people will reach the Xiantian realm. Innate realm. If it was the Long family in the past, the Xiantian realm was already considered pretty good. But now, the situation was completely different. As his strength continued to grow, Longao's horizons also slowly widened. Originally, he thought that the powerful Star Cloud Kingdom and Thunder Empire were the pinnacle. However, he didn't think so. Above the Thunder Empire, there were still 6 great sections. What about now? Longao realized that the 6 major sects were not the overlords of the Tianzhou. The real overlords of the Tianzhou and even the 9 states were the East Royal City, the Long family in the west, the House of the Underworld in the south, and the Misty Palace in the north. In front of the 4 overlords, the 6 major sects were nothing. As long as the 4 overlords wanted to, they could easily destroy the 6 major sects at any time. Longao was very clear that in front of the 4 overlords, his family was simply too weak. The 4 overlords were the 5 major sects. If they wanted to destroy the family, it would be as easy as crushing an ant. In the 9 states where experts were as common as trees in the forest, the Xiantian realm was just like an ordinary person. Longao did not speak out his thoughts, because in his grandfather's opinion, the Xiantian realm was already very strong. After all, the family's starting point was too low, and it was too difficult to improve in a short period of time. Grandfather and the family cannot help you, but you must remember one thing. No matter what happens, the family is your family. If you are tired, come back. Longao sighed deeply in his heart. He really felt very tired. After such a long period of life and death tempering, he was already exhausted. But Longao was very clear that he could not rest, not even for a minute. After seeing the time outside, Longao knew that if he stopped, he would have to pay double the price to catch up later. Moreover, if he stopped for a moment, he would be drowned. Come with me. Longao gestured to the others, stood up and left with Longao. As for Wang Yidao and Mu Wanfeng, their faces were full of envy. With such a grandson, no matter what danger they encountered, it was worth it. Longao Peak, in an extremely secluded ancestral hall. All the ancestral tablets of the Long family were enshrined here. Seeing his grandfather bring him to the ancestral hall, Longao was very curious. He did not know what his grandfather wanted to do. Grandfather, come with me. Longao waved his hand. His expression was particularly solemn. He led Longao into the ancestral hall. The silent ancestral hall was very gloomy. Grandfather. Kneel down. Although he was very curious and did not know what his grandfather wanted to do, Longao still knelt down in front of the ancestral tablets. Our Long family was a 9th-rank family. Because of you, we were promoted to a 6th-rank family. But did you know that a talented super expert also appeared in our Long family? Longao was very puzzled. He really did not know about this. When did the family have such a powerful ancestor? No one in the Long family knows about this. Only the head of the family of each generation has the right to know. This ancestor is called Longbatian. Back then, he rose to power like you. In just a few years, he became a super expert. However, Longbatian was too conspicuous, and in the end, he provoked a 1st-rank Long family to kill him and suppress us. After so many years, almost all the geniuses in our family have fallen, and finally we have fallen to today's situation. Hearing this, Longao was shocked. He never thought that such a powerful person would appear in his family. In the end, he even provoked the Long family to take action. What did this mean? Longbatian? What a domineering name. Longao was very curious. What level of strength did this ancestor reach back then? You are the most talented person in our Long family. Therefore, I will pass Longbatian's inheritance to you. I hope that you can lead our Long family to glory. Hearing his grandfather's words, Longao finally knew why his grandfather brought him to the ancestral hall. Chapter 316. Accept the old ancestor's inheritance? Although Longao did not know how strong the old ancestor was, he knew that the old ancestor was definitely very powerful. Otherwise, the Long family would not have acted. However, Longao did not agree. Grandfather, I cannot accept. Why is that? You must know that if you can inherit the old ancestor's inheritance, I believe that you will be able to break through to a higher realm in a short period of time. At that time, even if you go to the 3rd-rank Long family, you will have a greater chance. Shaking his head, Longao was still unwilling to agree no matter what Longao said. How could Longao not know about his grandfather's worries? However, Longao had already thought about it. Even if he could obtain the inheritance and increase his cultivation quickly, so what? The place he was going to this time was the 3rd-rank Longao, one of the 4 overlords of the 9 provinces. According to the rules of the Long family, if a disciple of a lower-rank family became a dragon warrior, they would be killed without mercy. Because of this, Longao had no choice but to hold back. If something happened to him when he went to the third-rank Long family, what would the family do? Longao thought for a moment and said, Grandfather, let's be realistic. The family cannot rely on me alone. If something happened to me, would the family also be destroyed? This is clearly not realistic. Longao did not say anything because he also knew that this was not a solution. However, Longao was really worried about his grandson. If he could inherit the old ancestors' inheritance, and increase his strength greatly, then it would not be difficult for Aoer to keep his life. However, just as Aoer said, if something happened to him, what would happen to the family? Aoer, what do you mean? Grandfather, it's very simple. This opportunity cannot be given to me, but to Big Brother. Inger? That's right. Big Brother's talent is not bad. Now that he has broken through to the evolution realm, as long as he can obtain the old ancestors' inheritance, I believe that he will become a peerless expert in the future. And if something happens to me, the family will at least have Big Brother to take care of it. Longao was very clear in his heart that his big brother Long Ying's talent was really not bad. It was just that during this period of time, he had been suppressed by him. Some people in the Long family only knew about him and forgot about his big brother. Longao had already thought of a foolproof plan. As long as he could make his big brother into a peerless expert, then even if something happened to him in the future, there would be someone to take care of the clan, and they would not decline. After thinking about it, his big brother was the most suitable candidate. Longao seemed to want to say something, but Longao spoke first. Grandpa, this matter is settled. I will go find Big Brother now. Longao sighed helplessly as he watched his grandson leave. Turning around, Longao slowly knelt down and muttered to himself, My Long family has been through so many twists and turns, and has never been able to rise up. I hope the old ancestor will bless us. Longao, what Aoer just said is right. My inheritance must be given to someone else. Although Aoer's talent is good, his personality is the same as mine. He is too showy. It is unknown where he can go in the future. The family cannot rely on him alone. Longao nodded. Although he was a little worried, since the old ancestor had spoken, there was nothing he could say. After a while, Long Ying had already entered the ancestral hall. Grandpa. Inger, I want to tell you something now. Outside the ancestral hall, Longao let out a sigh of relief. His big brother had received the old ancestor's inheritance. As long as he grew up, he believed that he would be able to protect the clan. He could also go to the rank 3 Long family without worry. Longao Peak, Back Mountain Forbidden Area. Kid, you are really powerful. You slaughtered the Bloodsea sect and didn't die. Helplessly shrugging, Longao thanked sincerely. Big Brother Qilin, thank you for your help this time. Otherwise, I would not have won. Kid, although you have successfully slaughtered the Bloodsea sect, now that the 4 overlords have appeared, with just you alone. Although the Fire Qilin did not finish his words, the meaning behind his words was very clear. That was, Longao was nothing in front of the 4 overlords. Longao did not care about this because the strength of the 4 overlords was there for all to see. Even the Ghost King sect had to rely on the Imperial City. One could imagine how terrifying the strength of the 4 overlords was. Longao, do you know about the Void 8 Realms? Longao nodded. Of course, he knew about the Void 8 Realms. He said, The Void 8 Realms are the Void Disaster Realm, the Void Honorable Realm, the Void Sovereign Realm, the Void Earthly Honorable Realm, the Void Heavenly Honorable Realm, the Void Great Honorable Realm, the Void World King Realm, and the Void World Emperor Realm. Although Longao did not know why the Fire Qilin had suddenly brought up this topic, Longao still explained the Void 8 Realms one by one. Kid, you have just broken through to the Void Honorable Realm. There is still a long way to go before you reach the peak of the Void Realm. Moreover, if you want to shake the position of the 4 overlords, you must first break through the peak and become the Void World Emperor. The position of the World Emperor. It sounded simple, but in reality, it was extremely difficult. Longao knew that if he could really become the Void World Emperor, Even the four overlords would have to avoid him. Could it be that there was a world emperor among the four overlords? Big Brother Qilin. Don't ask me, I don't know. However, I saw the battle between the four overlords with my own eyes. I didn't expect that in just a few years, the four overlords had all recovered. If there are no accidents, the four overlords will once again fight for the position of overlord of the 9 states. Longao had also thought of this. Otherwise, the Imperial City and the third-level Long family would not have appeared for no reason. Moreover, the Imperial City had directly used the Imperial City Order to send an enforcer heavenly honorable to destroy the Blood Sea sect and let the Ghost King sect take over the Tianzhou. The Imperial City had supported the Ghost King sect. There was no doubt that the other 3 overlords, the Western third-level Long family, the Southern Serene Underworld, and the Northern Ethereal Palace, would not take this lying down. They would surely fight for the position of overlord of the Tianzhou again. Longao could completely imagine that in the near future the Tianzhou would become the first battlefield of the 4 overlords. At that time, it would be inevitable that the people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Boy, have you decided? Nodding, Longao said with a determined expression, There are too many restrictions if I rely on my family alone. Long family alone is enough to make my family unable to rise again. Therefore, I must establish my own force and take advantage of this war to occupy a place. Longao had decided to establish other forces outside of his family. This way, without the restrictions of a Long family, he could rise in this chaotic world. Longao knew very well that sometimes, it was not enough to rely on one's own strength. Only by establishing his own force could he stand firm in the 9 states. Force, the most important thing now was to establish his own force. Chapter 317. Long Family's Main Hall. Other than Long Haoshi and Long Ao, no one else knew about Long Ying's inheritance. After all, the fewer people who knew about it, the better it was for Long Ying. Ao, or have you thought it through? There were only 5 people in the main hall. Other than Long Ao, there were Long Haoshi, Long Yi, Wan Yi Dao, and Mu Wanfeng. When the 4 heard that Long Ao wanted to establish his own force, they were a little surprised. After all, they knew how difficult it was to establish one's own force. Grandfather, I have thought about this for a long time. Long family has limited our family and will never rise. So I must establish my own force. Only then will our family have a place in the mainland. How could Long Haoshi not understand his grandson's intention? However, this matter was still a little troublesome. If he was not careful, he would be digging his own grave. Since you have decided, grandfather will support you. Ao, or have you thought of a name? Dragon Sect? Dragon Sect? Hearing that the name Long Ao chose was Dragon Sect, Long Haoshi and the others were shocked. Long Haoshi impatiently said, Ao, or no matter what name you choose, I will not oppose it. The only thing you cannot do is Dragon Sect. If you do, you will attract a fatal disaster. Regarding the 4 people's worries, how could Long Ao not know? Grandfather, I have made up my mind. From now on, my new force will be called Dragon Sect. Long Haoshi sighed deeply. He knew his grandson too well. However, if it was called Dragon Sect, would the Long family agree? Without a doubt, Long Haoshi was 100% sure that once the Long family knew about this, they would not let his grandson go. Dragon Sect was obviously provoking the Long family. In order to preserve their reputation, it was easy to imagine how the Long family would deal with Ao. Ao, if you insist on calling it Dragon Sect, I can only tell you one thing. Before your force is established, you will attract your first strong enemy, the entire Long family. Long Ao nodded his head. Regarding this point, Long Ao had already considered it clearly. The establishment of the Dragon Sect would definitely provoke the Long family, but Long Ao knew very well that the Long family would definitely not do anything to him in the short term. Longao was taking advantage of this opportunity to lead the dragon sect to rise. As long as he succeeded, he would definitely be able to occupy a place in the 9 states in the future. It was precisely because of this that Longao was prepared to stake everything on this one throw. Since you've already decided, I won't say anything more. I just want to ask, how are you going to establish the dragon sect? I need to think. This time, Longao returned to his family and did not leave. No matter what, his agreement with the heavenly venerate of law enforcement was a month later. In other words, he had a month to establish the dragon sect. The dragon sect. Longao already had a preliminary scale in his mind. To establish the dragon sect, he first had to establish the corpse slave hall. As the name implied, it was a place where corpse slaves existed. Longao had just roughly calculated that the corpse slave hall had a total of 3 corpse slaves at the supreme level and 7 corpse slaves at the supreme level. As for the remaining 3 supreme level corpse slaves, they were soul slaves. Not to mention the other strengths, just the corpse slave hall's strength alone was enough to look down on the 4 major sects and catch up to the Ghost King sect. Longao did not leave the soul slaves and corpse slaves in the family because the fire Qilin was guarding the family. As long as the 4 overlords did not come looking for trouble, then everything would be fine. Therefore, his current priority was to develop the dragon sect with all his strength. The dragon sect. 3 days later, a brand new sect appeared in the Tianzhou. Under normal circumstances, the appearance of a sect would not attract any attention. If one was lucky, then it could be established for a longer time. If one was unlucky, some sects could not even last 3 days. However, when news of the dragon sect's situation spread, everyone was completely shocked. This was because the dragon sect master was none other than Longao, who had annihilated the Blood Sea sect 3 months ago and was reborn 3 months later. Longao, the most famous person in the 9 prefectures. He was also the most dazzling genius. No one could understand why Longao would suddenly establish his own sect. If he wanted to, then so be it. But he actually gave it such a name, Dragon Sect. This was completely provoking the Long family. In the Tianwu continent, there was only one Long family. No power dared to use the word dragon. Why was that? It was because they were afraid of the Long family. However, Longao did not know the difference between life and death. He just had to choose the dragon sect. Everyone could imagine how the Long family would deal with Longao if they learned that Longao had established a dragon sect. Although Longao had single-handedly slaughtered the entire Blood Sea sect, the Blood Sea sect was simply a drop in the ocean compared to the entire Long clan. Not to mention Longao single-handedly going against the Long clan. Even if there were 10,000 Longaos, they wouldn't be a match for the Long clan. Everyone worshipped Longao, but they also felt helpless. They didn't know why Longao would provoke the Long family for no reason. Why didn't the dragon sect be called the Heavenly Sect, Earth Sect, or Overlord Sect? Why did he choose this name? Longao chose to ignore the discussions. In his opinion, the bigger the commotion caused by the dragon sect, the better it would be for the dragon sect. He couldn't wait for the 4 overlords to come and interfere. That way, it would be a free promotion for the dragon sect. Thunderclap sect. Big Brother Dugu, why did Brother Long establish the dragon sect for no reason? Xia Jun's face was filled with worry and helplessness. He really couldn't understand why Longao would establish the dragon sect. Wasn't this just causing trouble for him? After all, the Long family wasn't to be trifled with. However, Dugubai smiled. Brother Long is truly worthy of being called an ordinary person. He's very smart. Why is that? It's very simple. Brother Long has already calculated that once the dragon sect is established, the Long family won't attack it. The reason is simple. As one of the continent's strongest powers, the Long family won't make a move for a newly established sect. After all, that would be bad for the Long family's face. Brother Long's dragon sect will definitely cause a commotion. The greater the commotion, the faster the sect will develop. I see. But the dragon sect has only just been established. Brother Long has already made a move. Isn't this a little too fast? It's not fast. Brother Long must have guessed that in the near future, the four overlords will definitely fight for Tianzhou. Therefore, this is the best time to establish the dragon sect. Once the four overlords fight for Tianzhou, without a doubt, with Brother Long's strength and potential, he will definitely be able to gain a place. Hearing Longao's words, Xia Jun was very surprised. He never thought that his big brother Dugu would have such a high opinion of Longao. Xia Jun also sincerely hoped that Longao could lead the dragon sect and gain a place for himself in Tianzhou. As a friend, he would even help him. Longao, your dragon sect has only just been established. Don't talk about fighting against the four forces. You might not even be able to fight against the other four forces. I want to ask, how are you going to dominate Tianzhou? Longao smiled and said with a face full of confidence. Without trying, no one knows. The Ghost King's sect has already been controlled by the Imperial City. If nothing goes wrong, from now on, Tianzhou will be the Imperial City's territory. Don't talk about your dragon sect. Even if the other three forces want to enter Tianzhou, it will not be easy. I still want to try. Hearing this and seeing the confidence on Longao's face, the Ghost King Ao Tian also slowly became serious. Because he realized that Longao was not joking at all. If that was really the case, then this matter was quite interesting. The four forces of the 9 states, the Eastern Imperial City, the Western Third-Rank Long Family, the Southern Nether Mansion, and the Northern Ethereal Palace. The four forces have enough power to destroy any state. Back then, the battle between the four forces could be said to be a bloodbath. If nothing goes wrong, in less than 3 years, the battle between the four forces will be unavoidable. 3 years? 3 years was not a long time for a warrior, but it was not short either. However, Longao knew that in order to occupy a place, the dragon sect must continue to grow stronger within these 3 years. If someone else were to say these words to me, I would definitely sneer at them. But you, Longao, are different. I admit that I didn't want to marry Ao Shui to you at that time because I looked down on you. You are just a disciple of a small scarlet fire town, and you want to climb up the social ladder. Father. Ao Shui, I want to hear it. Longao did not feel the slightest bit angry. The more the Ghost King was like this, the more relaxed he was. If Ao Tian wanted to play dirty, he really would not be able to handle it. Longao, I have to admit that you are indeed quite a character. Just the fact that you barged into the Bloodsea sect alone and slaughtered them is something that no one has ever done before. Therefore, I believe that you want to occupy a place here. This was a bit surprising, but Longao did not say anything. Because he knew that Ao Tian would continue. As expected. The four forces are very strong, but they are not invincible. This battle between the four forces is your chance. As long as you grasp it well, becoming the fifth force will not be a difficult thing. But Longao, I have to remind you that in a sect, the core strength is the most important. But with you alone, you will never be able to achieve great things. Nodding his head, how could Longao not know what Ao Tian was talking about? The dragon sect had just been established, and there was still a long way to go. But with an endless stream of corpse slaves entering the dragon sect, Longao had full confidence that he could become the overlord. Corpse slaves were not only strong, they were also immortal. Longao knew very well that if he could build an army of corpse slaves, he could definitely occupy a place. An army of corpse slaves. Longao was so confident because he could build an army of corpse slaves. But regarding corpse slaves, Longao did not mention a word. Because the army of corpse slaves would be the Ghost King sect's biggest secret weapon. When the time comes, they might be able to win by surprise. Longao, do you need my help? I heard that the Ghost King sect has already become a subsidiary of the Imperial City. If the Ghost King sect helps me, will the Imperial City agree? Without a doubt, once the Dragon sect enters Tianzhou, they will definitely go head-to-head with the Imperial City. When the time comes, the Ghost King sect will definitely choose to help the Imperial City and not him. If that's the case, why would the Ghost King sect choose him? Longao, your relationship with Aoshue has already been confirmed, so you are considered one of us. If that's the case, I won't hide it from you. Relying on the Imperial City was the ancestors' idea. I didn't want to agree from the beginning, but under the circumstances, I can only choose to agree. Hearing this, Longao smiled. Because he knew that the Ghost King Ao Tian was the same as him. They were both ambitious people. Since they were ambitious people, they would definitely not be willing to rely on the Imperial City. The two of them looked at each other honestly. Suddenly, the two of them laughed. The Ghost King Ao Tian suddenly said, "If you and I work together, we will definitely occupy a place in the future." The elders all chose to submit to the Ghost King clan because in their opinion, the Imperial City was one of the 4 overlords of the 9 states and was very powerful. Following such a force was definitely the right choice. The other faction was led by Xia Feng, Dibu Bai, and Xia Jun. They chose to submit to the Dragon sect because the talent and power that Longao had displayed were too shocking. Perhaps in the future, he would be able to defeat the Imperial City and dominate the 9 states. Longao's counterattack was obvious to all. Before this, no one dared to imagine that Longao could rely on his own strength to slaughter the entire Blood Sea sect and destroy the 3 controlling forces in one night. Such a counterattack, regardless of whether others believed it or not, was completely believed by Xia Fang and the other 2. In the end, the Sound of Thunder sect was divided into 2 factions. One faction chose to submit to the Ghost King clan and the other faction chose to submit to the Dragon sect. Since then, there were no more 6 controlling forces in the Tianzhou. Only the Ghost King clan and the Dragon sect remained. One was an old sect in the Tianzhou, the other was a newly established sect. Everyone could predict that the Dragon sect and the Ghost King clan would fight to become the overlord of the Tianzhou. No one was optimistic about the Dragon sect. No matter what, the Ghost King clan had the support of the entire Imperial City. As long as the Imperial City made a move and sent out the law enforcement Heavenly Lord, they believed that destroying the Dragon sect would be a matter of minutes. The Dragon sect. Longao chose to destroy the 3 controlling forces this time because he knew that he could not delay for too long. Otherwise, once the Imperial City made a move, the consequences would be unimaginable. Because of this, Longao directly used all of his corpse slaves. One had to admit that the corpse slaves were too powerful. In just one night, they destroyed the 3 controlling forces. Master, now that we have destroyed the 3 controlling forces, if the Imperial City makes a move, what should we do? Hao Chao looked at the young man before him. Even now, he was still in a daze. He never thought that in less than a year, Longao would have such accomplishments. Not only did he slaughter the Blood Sea sect, he also destroyed the 3 controlling forces and became one of the 2 controlling forces in the Tianzhou. Hao Chao was originally a guest of the Long clan, but he was invited by Longao to become an elder of the Dragon sect. No matter what, the Dragon sect had just been established and needed talents. Smiling, Longao said confidently, "The Imperial City will definitely not make a move. We are already on the same level as the Ghost King clan. If the Imperial City makes a move, then I can guarantee that the other 3 controlling forces will interfere as well." Unless it is absolutely necessary, the Imperial City will not start a fight. Longao was very confident because he guessed that if the Imperial City was strong enough to ignore the other 3 controlling forces, then they would not let the Ghost King clan represent the Imperial City in the Tianzhou. Actually, Longao was also gambling that the Imperial City would not go against the Dragon Sect. If he gambled right, then the Dragon Sect would have a place in the Tianzhou. If he lost, then without a doubt, the Dragon Sect would be destroyed. Although Longao was very confident in his and his corpse's strength, he knew that with the Dragon Sect's current strength, it was impossible for them to fight against the Imperial City. What he wanted now was to use the three controlling forces to keep the Imperial City in check and secure the position of the Tianzhou's controlling force. Hao Chao was still a bit worried, but since things had come to this point, he could only choose to follow. Hao Chao also knew that with what Longao and the Dragon Sect were doing, if they lost, then they would be doomed. But if they won, then the Dragon Sect would start a new era, and this step would only take one night. If he said he was not impressed, then he would be lying. After all, Longao's talent and potential were there for all to see. Brother Hao, although the Imperial City may not make a move against the three sects, we still need to be prepared just in case. If something goes wrong, we will all retreat and use guerrilla tactics. I don't believe that the Imperial City can do anything to us. Nodding, Hao Chao immediately left because he knew the seriousness of this matter. After all, destroying the three sects was no small matter. If the Imperial City really made a move against the sects, then the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao's meaning was simple. If he made a mistake, then he could teleport away and not be destroyed by the Imperial City. This was the so-called just-in-case. Master. What is it? Master, the master of the Sound of Thunder sect, Xia Fang, has brought everyone to the sect to surrender. Dugubai and Xia Jun? Hearing this, Longao immediately stood up. His face was filled with joy because he had already guessed why the Sound of Thunder sect was here. P.S. The remaining 2 chapters will be sent later. Everyone, please send more monthly tickets. If it goes well, Little Nine will stay up all night and upload the 10 chapters tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Please support Little Nine. Chapter 320. The reason why Longao didn't destroy the Sound of Thunder sect this time was because of Dugubai and Xia Jun. Longao wasn't surprised that the Sound of Thunder sect submitted to the Ghost sect. Longao had guessed that the Sound of Thunder sect only had 2 choices. They could either submit to the Ghost King sect or submit to him. No matter what, the current Tianzhou had completely changed. It was no longer the situation where the 6 major sects ruled, but the Ghost King sect and the Dragon sect. According to his relationship with Dugubai and Xia Jun, there was no doubt that the 2 of them would definitely choose to join his side. As long as they weren't idiots, they would know that the Sound of Thunder sect would only get more benefits if they chose him. After a short while, Brother Long, the Sound of Thunder sect would like to join. What do you think? Looking at the people who came in, Longao was overjoyed and said, Welcome, you're very welcome. Everyone took their seats. Dugubai went straight to the point and said, Brother Long, you are really too powerful. I really want to ask, how did you do it? How did you manage to destroy the 3 great sects in a single night? Xia Jun continued, Brother Long, the news of the Dragon sect destroying the 3 major sects in one night has spread throughout the 9 states. Longao smiled and said, I don't want to say any more pleasantries. This time, I welcome the Sound of Thunder sect to join us. Xia Fang, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, Master Long, this time the Sound of Thunder sect will be divided into 2. We choose the Dragon sect and the rest choose the Imperial City. I wonder how Master Long would like to settle us. He went straight to the point because Xia Fang was most concerned about the Sound of Thunder sect. How could Longao not know what Xia Fang was thinking in his heart? Actually, Xia Fang was a little sad. A few months ago, Longao was just a small disciple of the Red Fire Town's Long family. But in just a few months, Longao had become the master of the Dragon sect. Even the master of the Sound of Thunder sect had to be respectful to him. Xia Fang was even clearer that if it were not for his son and Dugubai, the Sound of Thunder sect would have been massacred by now. Their ending would be exactly the same as the 3 major sections. Uncle Xia, don't worry. The Sound of Thunder sect won't be removed. I've thought about it just now. How about this? From now on, the Sound of Thunder sect will be a branch of the Dragon sect. Uncle Xia will still be the master of the Sound of Thunder sect. Unless there's a major event in the sect, the Dragon sect won't interfere with the matters of the Sound of Thunder sect. Hearing those words, Xia Fang, Xia Jun, and Duge Bai were all overjoyed. Although Xia Fang was very unhappy, things had already come to this stage. It was already very good that the Sound of Thunder sect was not removed from the list. Longao did not dwell on this issue because he knew very well in his heart that with his current strength, he did not have the qualifications to know. Even if he knew, it would only be detrimental to his cultivation and would not benefit him at all. Kid, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. I will ask you one last time. Take me as your master, and I will help the Dragon sect become the #1 sect in the 9 states. Otherwise, not only you, but everyone in the Dragon sect and Long family will die today. Family? Hearing the demon mention his family, Longao's face instantly turned gloomy. Family was Longao's weakness. No one was allowed to touch it, even if he knew the demon's strength. No matter what, the demon was still a spiritual existence. Its strength was not as strong as the main body. However, Longao did not dare to act rashly. Even if he could leave, what about his family? In front of such a powerful cultivator, how many people in his family could resist? Seeing that Longao didn't speak, the evil spirit laughed and said, Brat, if it wasn't for the fact that your innate talent is not bad, you also want to acknowledge me as your master? What a joke. If that's the case, why don't you find someone else? I believe that in the 9 states, there are many people with more talent than me. Why do you keep pestering me? Longao was depressed to the extreme. He did not know what the demon meant. Could it be that he was handsome? Even if he was handsome, he had already made it clear that he was not willing to take him as his master. However, the demons still kept pestering him. It was really a pain in the ass. Ha ha, all right. Since you don't want to take me as your master, I won't force you. Hand over the dragon seal and the little guy and I will leave immediately. P.S. The 10th chapter will be delivered at 1 a.m. Little 9 will stay up all night tonight. The 10th chapter will be uploaded at 10 a.m. tomorrow. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.